he quickly. All right, I'm gonna stop talking about him since we're live. I'll talk about it.
Tia, why don't you come on the Kind of Nerdy Girls next week?
I'm waiting for my invite.
It is here. It's official. You are invited.
Okay.
I have no idea when we're doing it this week, but I'll let you know. Actually, if you send me sometimes, we'll do it when it's good for you.
Okay. That sounds fantastic.
All right, we'll talk. Jawan, the sooner you start dealing with this, the easier it's going to get.
Welcome to an all-new episode of Marvel. We are the MCR of the MCU. I am your host. This doesn't even work. I am your host.
Juwan, my mom is watching, so you got to put A+ effort in right now. Even though you didn't get what you wanted, you still got to put in A+ effort. As the Rolling Stones said, you don't always get what you want. All right,
wise man.
Wise man, that Mick Jagger.
All right, I can't get the intro to go. I don't know what's going on. It's just a bad day for Jawan.
It's Mephisto.
It's not Mephisto.
It was Agatha all along.
I think it's going to be a fun episode today for sure. Yes, as I said, I am your host, Jawan. This is the Marvel Cinematic Review. We are the MCR of the MCU. We'll be breaking down the series finale of WandaVision, thank God. And I am one of the greatest geeks on the planet. Starting off from the top, my fam from the GVN, starting with Tia. What's going on, Tia?
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight for the MCR to talk about the series finale of probably one of the most innovative projects in the MCU. And I have had a shit ton of fun these past 8 weeks with everyone. We got 2 weeks until we start talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm keeping up the energy, even though, again, John didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah, Tia said a whole bunch of words I didn't agree with. Martin, what's going on, Martin?
Oh, not much. Like I said, I really, well, we'll get into it, but I had no problem with how it went, and they didn't close the door to anything. I mean, you still could get what you want eventually, and but for right now, I'm like I said, I was fairly satisfied how they tied it up, and they opened the door for a few other things, so it's good.
Wise man, that Marty.
Yep.
Next up, Dom. What's going on, Dom?
I'm good. I've had a weirdly interesting day. You know, I watched the finale this morning, and then I got a weird message on my ancestry that could possibly alter my whole outlook of my life. So it's been a weird day. You know.
Oh, okay.
Were you told that you were related to Wanda Maximoff?
That's what I was going to ask. Are you also the Scarlet Witch?
No, it's one of those ones that I'll eventually, once I get to the bottom of it, I'll have to put it out into the world as a video or an article or something, because I'm very confused right now.
Wow. Okay. You're going to have to. That's a great tease.
Shout out the best we can, Dom. And next up from the Sports Bar Podcast, Prime. What's going on, Prime?
What's going on, people? Man, I am so happy to be here and feeling real good, man. I found out that I had an extra 12-pack of beer in my trunk that I didn't know it was there. I forgot it was there. It's probably been there a couple of weeks. So I'm extra happy and ready to get this in, man. Let's do it.
That is a win right there, man.
Man, I would feel like I hit the lotto if that were me open up the trunk. It's like beer.
It's like finding $20 in your couch cushion right there. You're like, yeah.
I was just going to say, most people find $20 in their couch, but Prime finds beer.
That's what you call winning.
That's right.
However you get to happiness, you know. Let's not be picky, you know what I'm saying? And from the nerd with the tech, what's going on, Trayvon?
Hi, everybody. This episode, I think Wanda and Vision had a good love story. I feel like the teases and the uselessness of some of the things they did in the show weren't necessary. We're going to get to that later. All right.
I like your chipper approach to it.
Yeah, no, you definitely said some things that yeah, we'll get to it. And last but definitely not least, bringing the excitement today along with Tia, helping me out in this episode from the Kinda Nerdy Girls and Kinda Nerdy Dudes, AJ and Patrick. What's going on?
What's up,
How
man?
you doing? Woo! Yeah, Marvel Cinematic Review. We got up at 2:30 because Patch's mouth hurt because he had dental surgery, and I was like, "Well, if I'm getting you drugs, we're staying up for WandaVision."
Hence the
Love
text
it.
from us at
Love
4.
Which is why we were able to text Juwan at 4:00, and both of us, like, it ended, and I was like, "Juwan is not okay right now."
Oh, Kevin.
I have no idea what AJ is referring to. Every
And
episode is
For
Wanda.
those of you who don't know us that well, we
Great background.
laugh
Juwan.
because we would not be doing this if it wasn't because we love you so much, Juwan.
Yeah,
What she said.
I definitely, I mean, I got texts and calls from people that I didn't get birthday calls and texts from. Hey man, you didn't get Mephisto. You okay? And I'm like, I'm not talking today. Like, don't text me for.
Actually, my first thought was, I hope he's not around kids because
Right.
I didn't want him to start randomly just punching kids.
Right. Yes. If you go back a couple of weeks ago, Juwan did go on record as saying he was going to punch kids if he didn't get Mephisto.
I was out with my mom for lunch, and she was like, "Man, how's Juwan gonna be tonight?" He didn't get what he and my mom doesn't even watch WandaVision because she doesn't have Disney Plus, and even she knows the deal.
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
a lot of love for you in the chat already, Juwan. So
I'm seeing it, and I appreciate every one of you. I am completely fine. My attitude will boost up throughout this episode, because I kind of had a revelation about what I didn't get here that seems like I'm gonna get somewhere else. But it still didn't enhance anything about my thoughts for this show. But let's get right into it. I'll kick us off. I don't usually kick us off, but I'll kick us off, and then I'm going to KJ and Patrick. I don't know, man. For me, honestly, WandaVision was always a bridge that was gapping Spider-Man. Originally was a bridge that was just gonna gap Doctor Strange. I think for me, if I'm looking at it as just a reviewer, not a comic book fan, just a reviewer. It was a beautiful story. It was a story no one necessarily needed nor wanted, but appreciated it after, you saw the good writing, the amazing emotion, Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen acting-wise. Excuse me. I really did love everything about it as a reviewer. But as a comic book fan, and I shout out to Trayvon, because I sent this to Trayvon like 8 a.m. when he texted me if I was like just like punching children or something. The video of Elizabeth Olsen when she was promoting Civil War, where she was going over the stories she would like to see play out for Scarlet Witch. The 3 stories being the exact 3 stories that made up this show. She highlighted Agatha Harkness. She highlighted Mephisto. And I will point out, Joelle did say that she does say somewhere in there, she didn't think Marvel would ever do it. But to me, it's just one of those things where it's like, if I don't get Mephisto, for me, it was ultimately a waste of my time because it ultimately gave me nothing that I couldn't have just assumed or guessed. Like, no X-Men showed up, no Fantastic Four showed up, You know, nothing huge in this show happened that I couldn't have, like, for example, and I'm not moving too fast. The end where you see the scroll show up. Was that not what I told you guys I thought the friend was that showed up to give Monica the truck? And I was saying I thought there was a group of scrolls up in space with Fury that only answered to Fury because they didn't trust Hayward. So I'm like, all right, I connected that dot a few weeks ago. So, and then the very last end credit scene of Wanda kind of doing her best Doctor Strange is also something, I mean, you could have just assumed. So to me, this wasn't something that I needed to where someone couldn't have just told me over the phone, like, Jawan, Wanda and Vision fell in love. It was fake. Agatha Harkness showed up. There were scrolls out there and Wanda's bad. And I would go, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, sounds about right. You know, kind of happened a little bit like that in the comics. So to me, I kind of built everything off of Mephisto. Now, where my point will go to about I had a revelation of I could possibly still get Mephisto in Doctor Strange 2. When you see Wanda at the end of that last end credit scene, that flash of red is another person. That's not just her eyes. That's not just her power. If you look closely, quite like the mirror when Evan Peters first showed up, it flashes really quickly. But the most important thing that led me to Mephisto, yes, I know the chat's probably going to be going crazy about this. I'm not getting off the Mephisto train till I know he's not coming, and then I can fairly say how much I hated this show. But
oh my God,
you were loving it for a week. You know, I'm gonna keep
You
my
loved it
opinions to
for
myself.
8 straight weeks.
I thought that was the end game right there. So yes, that's what I was excited for. It was the buildup.
Life is a journey, not the destination.
yes,
So
Jawan.
it's definitely the destination. If you're telling me I'm going to, like, I don't know, just like the loneliest corner of the world instead of Disney World, the destination definitely matters. But where I think Mephisto is coming in at is I do believe that children crying was the idea of Mephisto kind of still letting her know that they're out there. They weren't just Wanda's imagination or conjuring. I do believe Mephisto has them. And I do believe her journey to the dark side will be trying to find her children. So to me, that's the little bit of hope I let out from Mephisto. Also, when you see the page, when Agatha opens it up and you see like the image of Scarlet Witch in the book, on the other side, it's distorted, but it looks like a demonic figure. So, I mean, I don't know. I in my mind, I'm like, my dad texted me this morning and he's kind of like, Agatha Harkness was a little bit of like a throwaway villain. And I said, not really. Only because if Doctor Strange 2 begins with Wanda trying her best to find this person that has her kids, so she enlists Agatha's help, then it was worth it, you know? But if we don't see Agatha again, yeah, for sure. He's absolutely right. You took a character that's very prominent to Wanda and you kind of just threw it in there to kind of, you know, to kind of just be the bridge for the show. So to me, all in all, as a reviewer, I thought it had some of the best writing in the MCU. I thought it had some of the best imagery in the MCU. I do love how Vision, how White Vision definitely was just like, I'm Vision now. And I have no attachments to anything here. Like, he just left like, yeah, I remember Wanda, but nah, that's your problem, Other Vision. So I love that. I love that he's kind of just like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. So I can't wait to see where I see him pop up again, hopefully in Armor Wars or in Young Avengers. But overall, as a reviewer, I loved it. It did some very brave and bold things. It took from elements that I love. As a comic book fan, I was a little disappointed. But huge shouts out to their costume department. Wanda looked amazing.
Yes.
Better than I ever thought they would make her look. She looked great. And I did love the one line of Agatha Harkness telling her that she is now stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yes.
I gotta wait to see how that plays out. I don't know. I mean, we've barely seen Doctor Strange scratch the surface of his powers, and you're now telling me there's someone stronger than him. It's like, all right, well, hold on now. Like,
Right.
let me see what he can do first before you're just like, hey, by the way, you're not even the strongest out there. And it's like, I didn't even get to do nothing yet.
Which is why he should have been sensing her by now.
Right.
Well,
anyway.
to be fair, I heard he did shoot a cameo for the show, but they cut it. So I assume maybe it just didn't work, or maybe they took it and put it in Doctor Strange 2. But I mean, we don't know that he didn't sense it. We don't know. We honestly don't. They cut the cameo, so
I didn't see him in the show.
And that could work as a flashback in Doctor Strange too. Be like, hey, remember when you did this?
Like I knew that all along.
Yeah.
I mean, but also we have to also keep in mind if she's that strong. I apologize. It's possible that it didn't expand outside of just that breach that she created. So it's very possible she contained it, and that's why he was just like, I don't know what the hell's happening in New Jersey, but
Well, I mean, I feel like, and again, this comes from someone who doesn't read the comics, hasn't read the comics. I thought Doctor Strange was quite powerful already. Turning back time in the first Doctor Strange, literally going up against this like massive entity with Dormammu and stuff like that, being able to see all the possibilities in the world where only one outcome is them winning the Avengers. I mean, a lot of what he did, I was like, this is a very strong person. I put him above Loki, and originally I did put him above Wanda. So to me, saying Wanda's stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme held a lot of weight for me, because to me, I already believed that Doctor Strange was a very powerful human being.
Well, all of that you just said came from the Time Stone, though, and now that's gone.
Well, no, not really.
No.
Turning back time, the Dormammu thing, and the seeing the future, that was all the Time Stone.
Oh yeah. Oh, that. I thought you were talking about
all three of those things were time. I mean, not his power, but all the things she just said all came from the Time Stone. So now I'm curious to see what it does now.
I always say this: we don't know that he didn't get his stone back. We have no idea. We have absolutely no idea. The guy can also open other dimensions or whatever. He could have easily met up with Cap and was like, hey, that's mine.
That's mine.
Yeah. I'll take that.
Okay. All right.
I'll save you a trip here. I got you.
Yeah, he's just like, excuse me, where are you going with that green one? Like, all right, thank you.
I mean, technically, I'm
sorry. Bring it back though.
Not to get too into it, because we're talking WandaVision, but it's a two-part. When did he exactly lose his stone? That was in Infinity War.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay, well, he clearly had the ability to do a lot of shit in Endgame.
Yeah.
And he brought the portals and he, stopped the water and everything. So whatever power that manifested from, he still has. And that, again, already pretty powerful that he was able to do all of those things. How he did it, I'm not sure, because again, I don't think that he had the Mind Stone at that point.
Well, no, I think Trayvon was just speaking to the time travel. The time travel, because that's essentially what the stone was used for. But he gets his magic from other entities, Mama being one of them. So the stone had nothing to do with his actual power. It's just controlling time was the time stone, right? So again, I don't know. I'm gonna read some of the comments. I'm passing to KJ and Patrick. Overall, I love the finale. The goodbye scene made me tear up. I do feel like Hayward getting hit by Darcy and getting taken away in handcuffs was not satisfying enough. I
thought that was satisfying.
I don't necessarily disagree. I think mainly
I loved it.
Oh, go ahead, Prom. I'm sorry.
I loved it.
Yeah, no, I loved it for Darcy. I do think it fell a little flat for me because Hayward wasn't who I wanted him to be in all time. But no, I mean, I liked it because I was actually sitting there going, it couldn't have been that far from where Darcy was driving from. Like, will we ever see her come into the thing? And I'm like, she just showed up at like the perfect moment. I'm like, okay, all right, that works for me. I'm like,
She was the Captain Marvel of that little moment. Just
Yeah.
coming
Right.
in at
Yeah.
the end.
Boom. We're done here.
I agree with Wanda looking at other timelines where her children may be. I do believe maybe not other timelines. I think the idea of just that her children didn't disappear. And there was a reason why we didn't see them disappear. It was kind of just, her and Vision, because Vision was the illusion. Maybe the children weren't the illusion. So the children could be out there just with another certain person.
Yeah.
And to me, it just kind of lends to Agatha kind of just repeatedly going, you have no idea what you've done. You have no idea what you've done. And she never elaborated. It was kind of just like, you done some shit. And it's like, well, what did I do? Don't worry about it.
Right.
You'll see. Maybe Doctor Strange is dealing with other issues. I mean, for sure. 100%. He's a busy man. Like I said, in the comics, Doctor Strange was not necessarily an Avenger. He was the guy that would go, oh, Doctor Doom is like destroying all of New York. All right, y'all got that. But it's like, oh wait, Galactus is coming. All right, I'm on my way. Like he wasn't just showing up for anything. So it's very possible that he was dealing with other things.
Well, he's got a whole multiverse to like manage as well, right?
Well, now, like he was probably taking a nap and then woke up and it was just like all of reality has shifted and he's like, what the hell?
Hey, but Juwan.
Yeah.
One reason that is a good theory, though, as far as about possibly looking for her kids and not believing that they may not be gone. Do you remember towards the end when she's standing there in that plot, where the house was, and that's before she walks off and she throws the hood on? She's not, she has this look on her face, like it's kind of a puzzling look, but kind of a sort of a halfway astonished her, but she's not like sitting there crying uncontrollably. She's not, just like totally losing her mind. She looks like somebody once she throws that hood on, like, hey, she's on a mission.
Yeah, she got work
there's something else I need to find. There's some things I need to figure out, and and maybe one of them is I know my kids are still out there.
She says something very important. She says, "Thank you for choosing me to be your mom."
Boom.
And I mean, that is a line that most parents kind of say because it's like, your kids could have hated you and said, "Oh, you're not my mom." Like, you know what I'm saying? But to me, this show doesn't say things like that, and it mean nothing. Well. Last few comments before I pass it on. I loved it, but I wanted a bit more of an epic moment, probably for the reason you just said, Juwan. I mean, to me, it was a way to give Darcy something to do, and it was, to me, I don't ever mind that. To me, don't bring in characters that you bring in, and then you have them part of a plot, and then the plot's never resolved. So it's like I don't mind that. Give Darcy something to do. Let her be the hero of the day. But also shout out to Jimmy Woo. We love you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hey, authority looks good on him.
Yeah.
Remember that line was great.
Just saying, a certain Nick Fury could come down and be like, "How would you like a job, Jimmy?" But KJ and Patrick, I pass it on to you. Your thoughts on the series finale of WandaVision?
Aside from worrying about you, I enjoyed it. I thought the fact that they went through 9 episodes and every single week they had you asking more questions and more questions and more questions. At the end of the day, they literally told you what's wrong, like who the big bad is and everything. They flat out told you, but the writing was so brilliant that they still had you questioning that over and over and over. It's like, who's going to come in? How's that going to be? Who? I mean, like, to me, that was one of the brilliant. That was just the brilliance of the show, and it started, really week 3. Week 1 and 2, a little campy, but week 3 on, you're like, oh yeah, but what about this? Did you catch this? This means this guy. This means that guy. And then, and we all knew Agnes was, Agatha, but then they're like, it was Agatha, guys. And series finale, it was Agatha, guys. We
They
told
literally
you.
made a song out of it.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't see how they don't bring Catherine Hahn back into the fold. I've never seen anybody with an overwhelming swell of affection in the MCU like she got in such a short period of time.
Well, and also if you pay attention to that last exchange that they have when she realizes that Wanda is going to leave her there, and she's saying, you don't know what you've done, you're going to need me. She said, you're going to need me. And to me, that means you don't know what you've done. And I'm not going to tell you what you've done, but you're going to get out there. And that might be where Mephisto comes in, and Wanda doesn't know what to do. And Wanda needs a witch that understands more of that world and can help her through it. So I think absolutely she is going to be back. And there's going to be a point where Wanda struggles with the fact that she has to go back to her for help. That you're right. I do need you. That will be an interesting moment, but I definitely don't think that she's gone. And I think, I don't, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much as I did watching it going, they are really this is it. This is Agatha and this is Wanda's story. And Jawan is just losing his mind right now. And we are going to have so much fun on Saturday night. There was that playing out as I was watching it. But I appreciated that this was Wanda's story. Wanda didn't need to be saved. She needed to figure it out herself. She needed to discover how powerful she was and then choose what was the right thing to do, even if it broke her heart again. And no one came in and said, Wanda, what are you doing? Or Dr. Strange didn't show up and say, we got to fix this. She did it. And to me, that even though it didn't go your way, Juwan, I would like for you at some point to really think about the respect that Marvel just gave the Scarlet Witch. She got her own show. It was about her. It was about vision. It was about real grief. And it was about really making the choices that you need to make when you know what is right. So I'm actually kind of glad that it wasn't anything else than what it was. And the fact that they did leave that open with Agatha and you're going to need me, and the teasers that we got and the way they set it up, Jimmy Woo, authority looks good on you, and Monica getting called up. I mean, they gave us enough to move the story along, but that story on its own, if you never watched anything else, the WandaVision story is wonderful. It is great writing. It is great characters. It's great development. It is done visually so well. And you could watch it from start to finish and be happy with it. And that's pretty amazing, given when I think back to when they announced that this series was coming out, I wasn't super excited about it. And I'm so glad that they gave this to us, because now there is this meaningful reason for Wanda to continue on. And I'm excited to see where it goes, whether she ends up being a big bad or whether she continues to figure out how to balance that. We don't know yet, but we know that we're going to find out. And that's what's beautiful about the MCU, is I think they take characters like this. I mean, who cared about Ant-Man? They do this to you, where all of a sudden you're like, I didn't think I was going to care about this person so much. And I think that was not something that was accomplished in the movies with Wanda, but it certainly was accomplished through this series.
I don't necessarily disagree with anything you just said. To me, it's about seeing it play out. Because if he shows up later, then I know it's part of a bigger plan. If he doesn't show up, I'll never feel as though that his presence in the show would have changed anything that you just said.
But also, John, didn't we talked about even on the pre-week show when myself, you, and Angel were talking? It was this. We all agreed WandaVision was the setup for the big bad. So I mean, you didn't. I guess you didn't necessarily have to reveal it right away either. If you look at the stages of the MCU, phase 1 and 2, like they didn't reveal who the big bad was right off the bat either. So, I mean, I didn't have a problem with them not saying, it's not Mephisto, it's not Nightmare, it's not Dormammu, it's not, I didn't have a problem with that because this was a great setup is what it was.
Again, I don't necessarily disagree with that either. It's just the idea that I'm no closer to knowing if whether or not they'll use Mephisto. And if they don't, it just ultimately, to me, it's just, I don't know. It's like, think of your favorite meal, like the whole full course of it. Like, and then someone just taking out your favorite part of that meal and telling you, well, hey, it's still food. Like, eat up, enjoy it. And you're kind of just like, but I could have enjoyed it better with like my chicken. Put my chicken back, So to me,
put my chicken back.
Put my chicken back, So to me, I just look at it as if it doesn't turn out, it's just an incomplete story for me. It doesn't mean it was a bad. Like I said, I don't think this was a bad show or a bad concept or poorly written or a stupid idea. It just ultimately will feel like a waste for me if he's not the end game, because it's so heavily tethered to the exact story you just gave me. Like, again, it's just so frustrating how in those 3 comics, they gave you everything but the main ingredient of those 3 stories. So to me, I just look at it and I'm like, I don't mind waiting. I will wait. But if they come out and tell us that main villain for Doctor Strange 2 is anything other than and then ends with Fisto, yeah, no.
Keep your kids away from Juwan.
No, I mean I'll just say it like this. This just will be something that I will just never go back to. Because to me,
you never know, because who would have thought back in Iron Man 3 when they did the Mandarin so poorly and people thinking that was the only chance that they were going to get to see a iteration of Mandarin, only to know how many years later that we're going to finally get the proper Mandarin. So it's like the MCU does, for the most part, bring things in, maybe just not when you thought they were going to.
And
so it could be very possible.
I would hate for everything moving forward, regardless of when we get Mephisto. I don't want you to be so set in if I don't get him here, it's no good. If I don't get him here, it's no good, because you're going to miss out on the entertainment. No. I mean, there's a way to tell the story, even if you don't necessarily like the way they tell the story. It doesn't mean that it's not great.
No, it won't affect how I consume Doctor Strange 2. It will, like, that's what I'm saying. My mindset for Mephisto is like Wanda's breach around Westview. It's only contained within WandaVision. I'm just saying, like, if someone 5 years from now asked me about WandaVision and there was no Mephisto in the frame of these 3 movies, my thoughts on the show will be what's sour, not on anything else. Like, I'm not saying if I don't get Mephisto in Avengers 5, screw Avengers 5. Like, no, it'll just be like, and to your point, Tia, it's like, it's different because you got a bad Mandarin, but you got Mandarin, so it's like you just had to wait to get a better version.
I'm sure people would have preferred not to have gotten a Mandarin at all. And
100.
I would take bad Mephisto in WandaVision.
No, you would not.
No,
you would not.
No.
I feel like they got them wrong,
I would have taken a bad Mephisto just to say I got him. Like, you at least lived up to the actual story of it.
They did give you Mephisto. It was the bug that Agatha was,
What if it was
chilling
just like
with
a dark magician or something?
All right, we're gonna go to the fan comments on that one.
He's like, I don't want to talk to you guys anymore.
I could see her being a frenemy through the next phase. Ultimately, just plain Paul, the way I see Wanda going forward is she's a villain for Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange kind of assesses her as a threat going forward, regardless of how it ends. And I do believe Wanda walks a path of her own till she finds out she's not alone. And that's where we see her fit in, is with the people she belongs with. So I do believe that at some point her path will be walked right into the mutants. Michelle says one of my favorite parts was when Wanda used runes from what Agatha told her about in the previous episode and how she thanks Agatha for the lesson. Absolutely. It was, she was learning magic essentially as she was going along. And that's why it was the ultimate, the thank you to Agatha. It's like, you know what? I never really cared about how powerful I was, but now I'm kind of curious, thank you, Agatha. What would you say, Trevor?
Thanks for showing me the book. Now I know how to summon it too.
Thank you for giving me. We are all doomed.
Yeah.
Bonnie says you nailed it, KJ, with your breakdown of this last.
Thank you.
Bonnie also says, I agree, KJ. I was the most excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I ended up becoming obsessed with WandaVision.
That's how I felt, honestly. Like when they first announced all of the shows, I was very excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier because you know that the Winter Soldier is my favorite movie. And of course, I was very excited. You're right. It's just top tier. And I was excited for the Loki series for obvious reasons. And WandaVision was very low. And as soon as they started putting all like the trailers out there, I was like, shit, I eat my words. I eat them.
100%.
Yeah, I was on board when I knew the story they were going with.
Because he thought he was getting Mephisto.
All right, last one before I pass it on. In Wanda Scarlet Witch, costume is very similar to Magneto's in the X-Men movies. Michelle, I'm actually glad you said that because I wanted to debunk something that people are running with on Twitter. The cabin that she went to is in Sokovia, I believe.
Yeah.
It's not the alkaline lake from the X-Men movies that everyone was trying to connect the dots to. Stop trying to connect the dots to the Fox universe. It's dead. DEAD, dead, gone. We're going
like
into
the boner.
Juwan, the way that you're yelling at these Fox fans is this, people could yell at you for certain things too. Just saying.
Feige didn't buy Mephisto from another universe. Like it's just not like people are trying to connect it too much. Like when I heard the alkaline lake thing, I was just like, where did you get that from? Because you saw water? There's other what got you to that idea? So that was
Wondergore Mountain.
Wait, say it again, Dom.
That's Wondergore Mountain, probably.
I mean, it could legit be anywhere, but to me, I thought of Sokovia because she wanted to go home and build something for her.
I was thinking Wondergore Mountain because that's where the Darkhold was created.
Very likely could be. Very likely could be.
And where she was supposedly created.
Yes. No, I mean, look, it could be. I only went with Sokovia because of the ties specifically to this character that they created for Wanda, for the MCU rather. Sorry. So that's where my mind went. But Michelle, that was not to you. That was to everyone that was saying Alkaline Lake. Like that. When I tell you, after watching this episode and then going to Twitter and seeing that, I had a stressful morning.
It actually reminded me of what was which Fassbender one where he had the family in the cabin in the middle of nowhere. That was immediately where my mind went on that.
Yeah, I actually still say to myself, I love that and then hated it because I remember saying to myself, wait a minute. Magneto has a daughter.
Yeah.
It could be Wanda. And then when they killed her, I was just like, oh, well, never mind.
Magneto be getting around, man.
Yeah, he's definitely a hoe.
I was just like, all right, man. My only hope at that point was just like, well, I mean, Quicksilver did have a sister that we just never really heard more about. But quickly they let go of all of that. But all right, let's move this along. Prime, I want to go to you, man. Your thoughts on this series finale of WandaVision?
I liked it. I really liked it, and I think seeing all the comments on social media where people were disappointed. I think that was Marvel knew what they were giving us all along. Okay, so they knew that you were going to be disappointed, but they did it for a reason. and that's just to keep our mouths watering. There's so much that's coming, to leave so many questions going into Doctor Strange. As we've been talking about earlier, what's going to really be Wanda's role? Planting so many seeds in this last episode. You guys mentioned about the possibility of her having to go back to Agnes for some help. Of course, she knows exactly where Agnes is. I mean, so that's not going to be too hard. I loved getting to see her in that badass suit. She looks totally awesome when they finally got her suited up. That's really when I lost it in this episode. But I totally loved it, man. And then if you look at where this series is taking us, it still leaves a lot of questions. Some big, some small. You look at like Monica. Who is she really going to debut as? And we were thinking it's going to be full-time. Could it be, they switch it up. It could be Pulsar, Daystar. It could be any of those. We don't know how she's going to debut. Jimmy Woo, man, remember way back, my man T'Challa was like, I was talking, he said, to get that man a shield, let's get that man a show. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my thing right there. Jimmy Woo was totally awesome. What else?
Just start calling him Director
Wanda
Woo.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
That would be awesome.
Right.
And especially if they went some kind of X-Files style or something, because that's one of my all-time favorites. That would be totally awesome. But just the whole thing was just getting to see Wanda sort of in astral form. I mean, it was just so much in this. But I totally loved the episode. I love the trust that Wanda had in the kids. Remember, early in that, her and Vision were talking to the kids, and he said, "We never told you about it, but you guys were born to do this." Then later on, boys, you handle the military. Like, it's just, this whole thing was just like, it was great.
By the way,
and just seeing her, what'd you say?
No, I was gonna say, by the way, that was very much to me a callback to that marquee during Halloween. That was very much Incredibles, where they rescue Mr. Incredible from the island, and they form that circle together, and it's kind of like, all right, kids, you do this, and me and your dad will go do that. So to me, it was an immediate callback to Incredibles of like, all right, I have to kind of let go of trying to protect the kids. Like, they have powers, and like, we need them if we want to get through this. So
the only thing, the smallest of critiques, and it's not even a critique, but we were talking on the last episode that you asked me, I think we would see Doctor Strange, and I said if we did, it'd be like in the final minute or the final seconds of it. And I would have loved to have something like he just pops out of nowhere and Wanda's in trouble and he comes out there, Agatha, I've come to bargain, that would have been like straight crazy if that would have happened, right? But overall, man, I really enjoyed it, man. And I just can't wait to see what we're going to get next.
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing how it connects to Spider-Man, because what we did not see is her opening up a multiverse. I mean, we assume that's what she did when she exuded her power, but we don't know. We have no idea. So the idea of seeing how she did it, because we know from where they are in New Jersey is not that far from New York. So it would make sense of how it trickled there first. But we're no closer to knowing if that's what happened.
Well, maybe she's doing that. I'm sorry about that, Brian. I was just going to say really quick. Maybe that's what she was doing in that, end credit scene where she was like, astral projecting, looking at the book and everything. Something about that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying we have to wait to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, I thought it was going to be something to where we kind of see like how it's affecting this world, because it's opening up other worlds. And when we didn't, I was just like, okay, so I guess this is like all on the shoulders of of Spider-Man.
Well, Mephisto has a history with Spider-Man too, so you just never know how that's going to turn out, man. But yeah, I just can't wait to see the Sorceress Supreme, and where we're headed now.
Yeah, I do know that out of the Avengers roster, Thor and Doctor Strange are probably the angriest about Wanda. because it's like Thor is the strongest Avenger, and then it's just like, no, it's Captain Marvel. Then it's like, no, it's Wanda, and then it's like, all right, like Thor's like, all right, I can't. This is
No, the thing is that Thor on a daily drinks that respect women juice, so like he loves it, you know. When he met Valkyrie, he said he wanted to be a Valkyrie and everything. He appreciates that Wanda and Captain Marvel are stronger than him.
And he was a huge
Yes.
mama's boy. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed.
Yeah, he was raised right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that scene makes me cry. That was
Oh, that was the
that
worst.
was one of the most beautiful scenes in all of the MCU
Mhm.
right there.
Wait, which one specifically?
Where he goes back to the
Oh, in Endgame, yeah.
Oh
Oh
gosh,
god.
heartbreaking.
her, you know, because I'm a mama's boy, but the idea of her like validating him that like you matter, you know, you're not just your hammer, like you actually matter. That's why I always feel as though Thor had the best arc in all of the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Legit. I mean, he lost everything. That's why I'm like, I do want to see him reunite with Loki at some point. Even if it's not reciprocated, like Loki's just like, I thought we hated each other. And Thor's like, no idea what I went through for you, huh?
Right.
Thor will have a vision moment where he puts his like hand on his head and it's like, all right, let me do
Yeah, and then he flips
It's
Loki
like,
out, Loki turns-
everyone else is dead, so you're now my favorite family member.
Right. So I have to love you now. All right, a few more comments before we pass this on. I agree with Prime. I think we did that to ourselves. I believe Bonnie was speaking to your point, Prime, of us building up theories that they were kind of just like, oof, we didn't say any of that. We didn't tell you any of that. Going so wild with all the theories, keeping up us holding on to what is coming next for sure. Buy WandaVision for now. Sad face. Well, at least Falcon and the Winter Soldier is here on the 19th. Strange versus Wanda is gonna happen, at least I think and hope. I mean, I think they made it 1,000% clear that's exactly what's coming. Is that he's gonna go, hey, so do you see what you're doing out here? Like,
What you been doing?
Wanda, have you stepped outside yet? And he's like, no, what's going on? I don't know, like other worlds are colliding. Like, probably stop that. So I mean, yeah, I think that's definitely on its way, for sure. That was as plain as possibly could. That was as plain as possibly could be. That Wanda vs. Strange is definitely on its way. All right, passing it over to you, Tia. Your thoughts on this series finale for WandaVision?
Well, first I want to say, if you don't know, March is International Women's History Month. And we got some amazing, strong women in this show, so that was very satisfying. I loved it. To me, WandaVision made it very clear from day one that this was the love story for them. Yeah, we knew that they loved each other in the MCU. We could see it brewing in Civil War. We obviously saw it in Infinity War, but this was like a moment for them to both breathe with each other, albeit Vision was fake Vision, but still this beautiful nod to sitcoms throughout the years, and this beautiful relationship between these two characters that is just like Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany just did such a wonderful job with their relationship. I mean, my favorite moments were Vision telling Wanda like it's okay, and them just standing there as the barrier is closing in. And I don't mean to compare this, because this is not about slandering DC, but it reminded me a little of Wonder Woman 84 when, Diana had to say goodbye to Steve Trevor, and how I felt like that wasn't earned enough, but this felt earned. Wanda had to make the decision to say goodbye because she could have probably easily lived in that little bubble, but she didn't. She said goodbye to her son. She said goodbye to the person that she loved. That quote was beautiful. So I loved it. I loved Jimmy Woo. Just authority looks good on you. I still love that line. I mean, Jesus Christ, Randall Park is such an amazing actor, and the fact that they brought him in, a character that had maybe 5 lines of dialogue in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and they're like, no, we're going to make people love you, and it's not that hard because you do all the work yourself. Fantastic. Darcy coming in on the clutch, loved it. Again, as I've said this numerous times, I did not like Darcy in the Thor movies, and WandaVision made me care about Darcy. Monica, freaking Monica, like, just, first of all, that's what heroes do, stepping in front of the children to save them, not fully knowing if she would be able to withstand the bullets, which, by the way, screw Hayward shooting at some children, even if they were fictional children. That was just amazing seeing Monica step in like that. I'm so excited to see that. Definitely, I think, goes into Captain Marvel too. So that's really exciting. I know some people are saying Fury, which, you know, I didn't even think about. I thought Talos. I don't know why, because it's like, oh, friend of the mother. So I was like, Talos, yes.
Or
but,
it could be his.
they...
What about his daughter that they were being, you know, they were playing Uno on the stairs and stuff in Captain Marvel?
Yeah, all fantastic stuff. I love seeing that. I just love like the little point, like,
yes,
just love that. But I have a few other things. I loved. Someone said in the comments, I loved Wanda throwing the whole thing back at Agatha with the runes. Like that, just the boss level that she's, you know, all of a sudden Agatha thinks and she's like, thanks for the advice. Now you can't do any magic. And I was like, yes. And what should we call it? Vision, you know, pretty much defeating Vision with knowledge. I thought that was very cool. Apparently that's ripped straight from the comic books. The ship of Theseus, just really cool. And I wanted to mention the Evan Peters thing because I saw people getting really upset. You know, they wasted him, you know, To me, Marvel is a troll. If you didn't realize Marvel was a troll, they let you know how much of a troll they are at the end of Avengers when you waited all excitedly at the end of the credits just to see them eating freaking shawarma silently. So it's like, they're a troll. And the fact that they're like, we're going to bring Evan Peters in, we're going to call him Quicksilver, you're going to have all these theories, and he's just Ralph. I thought that was amazing.
Boner.
Yeah, boner.
Bullshit.
I'm sorry, I laughed so hard at
so
that.
bad.
I thought that was the funniest thing. And I was like, you know, that's great. That's a great use of Evan Peters in that sense. So yeah, I really loved this. The fight between Wanda and Monica was really amazing. Just seeing how powerful she is, seeing her, you know, get her costume, embrace being the Scarlet Witch. I thought that, you know, we thought it was cool enough to see a comic book accurate costume when she was doing the Halloween episode, and then for her to just that thing slowly transform her crown. Beautiful. Yeah, chills, KJ.
Like
chills.
Chills again.
Chills. So I loved it. I appreciated it for what it was. This just beautiful romantic story that ended on such a bittersweet thing. And again, her saying goodbye to her sons, knowing what the fate was going to be of them. I just loved it for all of that and what it led to Captain Marvel 2 and Wanda astral projecting, which I didn't see at first. Now, like the show had me so used to no like end credits. So I saw the first end credit and I was like, okay, that's cool. And I'm looking on Twitter and they're calling end credits, and I was like, mother effer, going back and everything. So I could probably spiel for a while about this episode, but I thought it was a really great finale. I just loved it.
Yeah, I do have to say, the funny thing about this episode is as Wanda's walking back into town, talking to Monica, she's kind of just like, these people still hate me. Can you believe this shit, Monica? Yeah.
But you know, I think that fed into, I think it really, like, to me, one of Wanda's best lines comes from Civil War when she tells Vision, I cannot control their fear, only my own. And that still stays with her. It's like, you know, yes, it seemed like she was very shocked that they were hurting because she was like, no, I gave you good lives, don't you? You know, and they're all like, no, F you monster. And I think once afterwards she realized, she's like, you know what, there's nothing I can do really to get them to, you know, forgive me. So I'm just going to go on my way and be okay pretty much with people thinking I'm the villain. Because she said that what, 2 episodes ago? Maybe I am the villain.
Yeah, no, I thought it was hilarious that Wanda she said goodbye to her kids and her husband, and she's walking through town, and she's just like, y'all are just so fucking ungrateful, and they're just looking at her like, what? Like, what?
I want to say one last thing. Again, I know that I can like talk forever about this, but I really appreciate that little line between her and Monica, where Wanda said pretty much like "thank you" to Monica, because Monica didn't have to believe her at all, because even she knew that being brainwashed was hurting her, so it had to hurt, and so there's no reason for Monica ever, but for her to sit there and acknowledge, like, if I had your powers, I'd bring my mom back. So how could I really fault you? I just thought that was really beautiful.
That was deep.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have someone that we would probably go through those kinds of links.
Yeah.
So I completely understand. I just thought it was funny how Wanda that quickly was just like, but all right, let's pass this along. Dom, I'm gonna go to you. Your thoughts on this series finale of WandaVision?
So I am of the mindset that I'm gonna continue to reach, right? So I enjoyed the episode. It's visually a great episode. Like, it looked fantastic. So to KJ's point, with like Agatha has been, what has she been doing for 300 years? Right? There's something she's been preparing for. That's why she was so pissed off that Wanda knew how to do all these things. And she's like, I've been studying for 300 years and I'm just now getting to half of what you can do. Right? So what was her end game? Was her end game to absorb her powers to fight, say, a Mephisto or some kind of stronger entity? Or was she just trying to be selfish and take it? Or was she like, hey, you're a danger, I need to take it because I'm more benevolent than you are, right? And if you see her on that billboard, right, and it talks about like using the earth's power, which is what witches do. They believe in that power from the earth. In the corner is an M and a B, right? This is a reach. That could mean Mephisto and Blackheart being his son. And in the comics, like an older comic, Mephisto tells Blackheart, I have to put you in his human form because if they see you in your true form, you lose your. I'm there lurking around, and Agatha showed up to find them, and then Wanda was there because she was attracted to some power, but it could have been not just Wanda's power; it could have been Mephisto's power. So I'm going to continue to reach, right? And when her turning her back to Agnes, that doesn't change. That doesn't change the basement. There's still the rabbit. There's still.
Don's having some connection issues.
You're a little choppy, Dom.
Witchy, devilish basement that she has. So like, she's gonna be hella confused when. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just I have a lot of. I open more questions. So I'm like, is Dottie just a nobody? What happened to the beekeeper dude? It left a lot of things. So like, this stuff couldn't have just meant nothing. I mean, her mentioning the devil in the details. I mean, the stuff was there. I just think that they didn't want to blow their load on this series. They have a long way to go, and they probably just didn't want to reveal everything that they could have. I think my favorite scene was Vision versus Vision, that ship of Theseus. That was my favorite scene. I was a philosophy major for a little bit, so that really just like plucked at my heartstrings a little bit. And I was like, oh yeah, I knew I liked Vision for a reason.
Yeah, but, I kind of felt like, Dom, you ever meet someone who doesn't understand, like, who isn't a part of this world, and then see them try to sit in the middle of two people who are, and they're just spewing back and forth like, yo, do you remember issue 466? And then when this happened, and they're just sitting there like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I'm sitting there watching them talk, and I'm just like, what?
But it was very interesting. It made me want to go and like read about it and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I mean, they humanized it and brought it to a point very fast within that quick explanation of it as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So Dom, is that something that you had heard like beforehand, or was this like
I had
your
heard things that
introduction
were.
to that?
I had heard things that were similar. There's a lot of, I mean, a lot of things are very similar. But that one is just explained so well and plays out so well that I visually can see it. I will say that, and this is another reach. If you look at that end credit scene in Far From Home when Fury is, on the beach in that, projection, on the left is a hexagon, right? And
Yep.
if Monica's going up to have this talk, maybe they were watching this whole entire time. I don't know if like the timelines line up as far as like the weeks or days apart, but there's a lot there that I think that as much as I wanted to see a Mephisto, that I believe that there's some chance that we may still see him down the road. But yeah, the series is great, but it did just leave a lot of questions for me that I was just confused about, like of why they left so much things big and small open ended. But like we said, it's Marvel and they're good about doing that. But they eventually tie everything in a nice little bow. It just may be 5 movies from now. And they're like, oh shit, that was from way back on the show, and then we're like, oh, finally. But I very much enjoyed this finale.
That was the plan all along.
Yeah.
That was the plan all along.
I definitely can say, Dom, I love your reach. It's why I had to change that back real quick. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of focusing more so on what you were saying about Agatha. It goes to what I think I said this last week, or maybe I said this on my other podcast, but I do believe the significance of that last episode was to showcase that maybe, I'm not saying it definitively, maybe there was someone out there that Agatha cared about, like Wanda cared about Vision. And she needed to possess this power. Like Leo, Ryan, I don't think you guys heard my theory from last week, but my theory was when the witches were draining Agatha's power and she ended up killing her husband and her mom's crown shows up. Right. And as Agatha kills her mom, she's reaching for it, thinking that she now will possess the power of what, we now know to be deemed a Scarlet Witch. I believe that Mephisto is the one that was helping her learn that dark magic. And it was kind of like, learn this magic so you can hook me up, bring me up there, And I think when she failed, they've been trying to find the true Scarlet Witch or find a way to make Agatha the true Scarlet Witch so she can finally give that power to Mephisto. And that's why when she finds Wanda, she's just like, you're making bacon and pancakes for dinner? What is this?
I saw how excited she was when she first got the crown too. She was
Yeah,
really excited when she first saw it. She was like,
yeah,
ooh.
she was just like, all right, hold on. What? How do you get this? Like,
there was definitely the jealousy there was so obvious. And then even in that,
KJ's not going.
Uh-oh. Am I going?
No,
it's Mephisto.
I can still see her.
But in the dialogue, like you said, Dom, in reaching for things, she says when she first takes Wanda's power, she says, "That's what I do." Well, we saw her do it once 300 years ago. So she's been collecting power for some time now, right? What is she collecting power for? I mean, if your power is collecting power, what good is it if you're not using it? She's got an agenda. Something happened along the way that she is trying to get more powerful.
Bingo.
I feel as though this episode was trying to swerve from that. This episode was trying to make you think she just wanted it for herself. She just wanted to be the supreme sorceress. I do believe there's something else there. Like to me, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because they're like, well, why can't it just be, Agatha wanted the power for herself? And I'm like, I don't know. To me, it's so cliche. It's so cut and dry. It's like, it has to be more there, and it's like, I'm a fan of you taking a weak character and making them stronger, but I'm not a fan of you taking a strong character and kind of dwindling them down for the purpose of a story. And that's what you'd be doing if you're telling us that Agatha just wanted it for herself. It's like,
you remember when she killed the dog and she was like, "Oh, you can do that." I really felt like that was a moment of,
that's
"Oh
what
my
I'm saying.
God, you
Where
can
she
bring
was
stuff
like,
out to life."
Yeah,
Yeah, I
was
really,
like,
yeah.
but
I really think
also,
she.
now that I'm looking back, now, like, if you pay attention to that, I take back what I said last week, where I connected that to maybe her wanting to revive someone. I think it's just more so her learning what a Scarlet Witch can do. And it was
Right.
just like,
Yep.
wait a minute, you can revive the dead? Oh, okay. All right. Let me just scribble that down. Okay.
Which, though, we find out that Wanda really can't do. It's
Right.
not like she brought
Well-
Vision back. That's not the Vision. It's just her creating, a version of Vision from the Mind Stone that lives within
Agatha
her.
did say that the spell was messed up though. Like she said that if the spell, like she said that Wanda did the spell incorrectly, and that's why they were tied to it. She said that in the show. She was like, I can fix your spell for you. She was lying to her. But she was like, once the spell is broken, it's broken. But I feel like, and also I was gonna get to this when I got to my part where she said she made Agatha stay there. She took the bubble down. So she did this in real life. She changed her and made her stay like that outside of the bubble.
Right.
So now she can figure out how to do stuff outside of that sphere. So now or that hexagon. What happens now? Like, what else can she do outside of the bubble now?
Also, to the point that I brought
That
up
was-
earlier about this not answering the multiverse, I'm now curious on, because we know Far From Home is after the events of WandaVision.
7 months after.
I'm now really intrigued in when Mysterio mentioned the multiverse and everyone believed it. It now makes sense because now it's saying that between the events of the end of this show and the beginning of Far From Home, in between those months, a multiverse has been opened. It's why Talos, as Fury, was kind of just like, yeah, all right, I believe you. Okay, sure. Like there was just no questions. Just like, okay, I believe it. You're from a different world.
They're from another Earth.
Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. Like literally, like there was just no questions anyone had. Like they
Right. Now they were like, yeah, that's a thing now.
yeah,
It's fine.
they were like, sure, yeah, completely. So I mean, it just lends more into that, and that's interesting. Go ahead, Dom.
Real quick. So the Ralph reveal, right? Is it possible that he is the person that Jimmy was looking for? Because when she said Boner, he laughed at his own name like it's new. Like he's like, there's no way you've had the last name Boner and still been laughing.
Well, I mean,
getting used to it.
that was one of the things I told you guys. I'd be really upset if that, like, if no dots were connected in that, and there weren't. Like, you didn't hear Jimmy go afterwards like, oh shoot, there's the guy. Like, that's who I was looking for. Like, it was just more so just like, nah, I just said that. Like, it meant nothing.
It wasn't one of the residents. I mean, I know that they physically didn't see him, but his name wasn't on the board as a resident that they had confirmed who he was. So maybe, that could be that guy. Because it just threw me off. Boner. Like, it's new. That name is new to him. You know what I mean?
Speaking of that, and I love you said that. I want to pass this, and Trevor, I'm going to go to you right after this, but I want to pass this to somebody who I feel as though has some backtracking to do, and that person is definitely Mr. Leo.
Oh, wow. I got to be called out. What's going on here?
I could have sworn a certain person was telling me that what was the name? A certain Dottie meant more to the story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
What was going on with that, Leo?
Well, the whole second episode, she said, "Devil's in the details, Bev," and then
That's not the only
Agnes
place she
leans
is.
over. That's not the only place she is, and all the ladies are following her. Like, I don't know, it led me down a rabbit hole to think this was gonna be at least Clea, Arcana, someone, if not Mephisto, somebody else. People were thinking maybe even Emma Frost. Could have been anybody.
To your defense, Leo, I was reading an article today with that Emma Caulfield was talking about playing that role, and she said that is exactly what Dottie was supposed to do. She had to be so careful about like what she said and what she did Dot, like she had to play the role of Dottie, knowing that Dottie was going to mislead us and make us think that
Hate
it
it.
was more.
That's what I'm saying.
Hate
Marvel is a troll, and they love it. They relish it, and they
But
show
that's why-
that us with everything.
But that's
Oh,
why
for
I don't
sure.
like I don't like when the showrunners. Well, let me say I don't like. But I find it funny when the showrunners are just like, "Wait, what? Because of our dialogue, you thought that? That's just
Exactly.
weird. Where'd you get that from?" It's like, dog, really?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, hey, I thought it was such a fun theory to think about.
Yeah.
It was better than Ralph
It
Boner.
was.
I'll say that. All right. Her name's Sarah, but Quicksilver ended up being Ralph Boner. What the heck?
Exactly.
Come
That
on.
was the best.
No, I could not stand that reveal. I'm so
Nope,
mad
me
about
neither.
that.
So
Me
bad.
too. Me
I'm
too.
mad. Like, how y'all gonna bring in Quicksilver, Peter Maximoff, make us think, okay, the mutants are coming back? Nah, man, it's just some guy named Ralph. That's it. And not to mention, she was mentioning Ralph,
Yeah.
always mention him almost every episode up until probably about mid-season. We
Mhm.
were all thinking that was Mephisto, and then he's just Ralph Boner, just some dude they jacked.
I will say now that we know that he's just essentially nobody. It now to me is just like, all right, Kevin, you could have just brought Aaron Taylor Johnson back. Like,
Right.
you guys knew what this was. No one was good. No
Right.
rational fan was gonna see him pop up and go, "Oh, this is just them trying to be cute and funny." Like, oh, okay, I won't think too much into it. What? Come
Right.
on, man. You know, that'd be like if I was just like, "Hey guys, like, I have Hugh Jackman as just like a lumberjack in WandaVision," but like it means nothing. Like, all right, dog. Really? Come on. Why? Why couldn't you just have I don't know the brawny guy cutting wood? Why did it have to be Hugh Jackman? So it's like they knew
Not
it.
the brawny guy, man. Come on.
I mean, come on. You know, he never gets no love. I like the brawny guy. But to me, it's like, come on, you know what you're doing, and you know, I kind of feel like after this all, like the showrunner was just like, no, I thought you guys' theories were pretty cool. Like, you guys are smarter than I am, and it's like, dog, come on, you did that for a reason. You knew to get us going crazy. And that's why I'm saying, to me, I understand people that thought it was going to be something, but at the end of the day, it's just like Feige is going to recast. Like, it's the inevitable, and it's something we do have to wrap our heads around. He's recasting. But Tina, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say really quick on that. I feel like this was definitely Kevin Feige's way of letting people know, like, this was like the definitive, no, we have a Quicksilver in the MCU. He's played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and he's dead. When we bring in the X-Men, they're going to be recast. We are not going to be pulling in. This is to me, this was like the proof. You know, we bring in Evan Peters, we're gonna have a cute little, fun with it and all that. But it's not going to be Peter Maximoff or anything like that from a multiverse. This is your proof that when you see Wolverine, Storm, Magneto, Professor X, they'll be played by different actors.
Yeah, it's better to get your head wrapped around it now. So when you see the cast on the stage next to Feige, you're not just like, what? I thought you were no.
It doesn't seem
I'm not giving Feige a pass
that going forward unless they resurrect someone.
Wait,
Because
say it again, Ryan.
I don't think we're going to get a Quicksilver at all, though.
I agree.
Yeah, just period.
That's what I said last week when KJ made the point of not needing Magneto to be Wanda's father.
Yeah.
I was saying if there's no Polaris and there's no Quicksilver, I don't need you to force it to make Magneto Wanda's father. But if the other kids are going to be there, you shoe that in as hard as you possibly can, and I'll accept it.
Yeah, at this point, I wonder if Magneto's going to have any children at this going forward.
Right. Yeah, and to me, it's like I don't want. Like I heard someone saying, like, if Pietro and Wanda aren't his kids, they're just gonna make like Polaris really. I'm like, I don't want Polaris. If they're not bringing back Quicksilver and I'm getting the whole family tree, I don't need it at all. Just keep the tree cut down. I don't mind. I can live with it. I'll accept it. But who knows? Wanda now having control of this chaos magic. Who knows? Who knows if we see Quicksilver some way or another down the road.
Yeah.
We have here from AJ the worst episode ever. The worst. We're
AJ.
gonna move by that age.
I agree.
What?
I'm with him. This is the second to last of all of them. The worst one, in my opinion, is episode 2. Then this one, man.
What?
My
All
God.
right. Well, wait. Hold on now, Leo. Go into that because I started this show by saying I was greatly disappointed.
He started this show by not talking.
Yeah. I
Like-
also didn't talk.
Oh man.
He was sulking.
But
He was definitely sulking.
I was very disappointed. But to me, I looked at it from 2 different lenses. I looked at it from a reviewer, to which I'm like, the story was great. And then I looked at it from a comic book fan, to which I'm like, nah, man, you left the puzzle incomplete. Like, I don't like that at all. But if you think this is one of the worst ones, please elaborate, because that has not been the current theme throughout everyone else here so far.
Okay,
Never got to
so
me yet.
I just want to say this. By the way, you look like an Avenger, my man, with that background. That was a good backdrop choice.
That is tight.
I just want to say this. As a whole, WandaVision is great, and none of the episodes are like horrible or anything. But just out of the 9 episodes we got, this was one of the worst, in my opinion. Because, I mean, I feel like it was a superhero landing that just wasn't quite stuck right. Like they landed and kind of stumbled afterward, because some of the loose ends were just tied pretty badly. Hayward, really, you're going to empty a clip on Monica now? I thought that was just a little out of character. Also, we barely got Darcy or Monica in this episode, especially not enough Monica. I would have loved some more Monica in this episode. Not enough. The Ralph Boner thing was, oh man. But I will say, Scarlet Witch reveal was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. It looked like what Dark Phoenix should have. Like it was, yeah, Dark Phoenix. But this looked fantastic. The CG looked great. The crown, the outfit just looked so cool. And it's so great to finally get Scarlet Witch, because we all saw her in Age of Ultron and we were just kind of like, oh, like that's not really like Scarlet Witch from the comics. That's just, Wanda Maximoff. Oh, okay. This is Scarlet Witch flipping through the Darkhold 2 places at once. Like this is like ultimate magic. I like the episode, don't get me wrong, but just in comparison to the rest of the series, little disappointing. Just a little now, just a couple details, but overall, still a good episode and still a great series. Just those little details kind of mesh things up just a bit now. Because I will say, still a great episode, still a great series, and still a good ending. And I like that it ended on the cliffhanger with the twins. That to me spells multiverse. I kind of feel like Wanda's going to do whatever it takes to get them back. Whether that's villainous or not, we'll see. Kind of seems like it will be after she trapped all these people. By the way, they were a little cavalier about her getting away, because they were like all ganging up on her. Then when she choked them out, they were just kind of like,
I mean, I'd stop too after that. I'd be like, you know what? I'm okay with just to walk away with my life.
Right?
They just kind of got off a little scot-free. But I gotta say, I was thinking Doctor Strange would pop up at some point, like especially in that post credit when she's making tea. I was like, is Strange gonna pop up? Is this gonna connect to Multiverse of Madness? But Spider-Man is coming out before Multiverse of Madness, and that was originally flipped. So I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go with the story next. Is this stuff going to result, like, is Wanda going to be in Spider-Man 3? Like, what's going to, how are the dots going to connect into Spider-Man 3? But still, overall, fantastic series. Just this episode just had a couple things about it.
Yeah, I will say about what you said about him her kind of just, walking off scot-free. I've always been curious, after the events of Endgame, does the Sokovia Accord still exist? Because if they do, I would imagine this was a major violation of the Accord.
He would bring it up?
I think he brings it up in the sense of it existed. I don't know.
In terms of like enforcement?
Right. I don't think he's speaking to enforcing it, like who's left to enforce it. Because to me, I'm kind of just like I love how the FBI was like on the outside and like Wanda's walking away and they're just like, okay. Like no one is just like, wait, hold on. Like, should we question her or something? It's just
Did you see what
she
did?
What she did?
You gotta job to do. Like,
No, dude, are you gonna question her?
Screw the job,
I'm
man.
not.
but wait.
If my
like-
boss was like, Tia, go tell her she can't leave. Go tell her that she can't leave.
You're
Screw the
not
job.
leaving enough.
Well, look, I mean, that's no. I mean, you put these accords in place, knowing that you'd have to deal with these god tier level Avengers. So, how are you going to enforce it back in Civil War when you did?
Not to mention the fact she didn't sign them to begin with.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it was not up to her to sign. It was once it was enforced. It was you don't have to sign. Just know we're enforcing it. It's why she had to stay in the house. It was kind of like start going, hey, so instead of going to jail, you got to just stay here. Like you can't go.
Can't even tell that. Just triple.
But I mean, no, I just always been curious about that. I would love it if someone asked Kevin
Scared
Feige
of it, too.
if the cord still exists. Because I mean, even Spider-Man, killing someone is a breach of the Sokovia Accords. So it's just like, did that go in the garbage after they saved Earth? Or it was just like, maybe you should just do what you want. Like, like we were a little late on this Thanos thing. But all right, so I'm gonna read two more. We got two more comments. I think we all suspected Dottie being more, especially because of who was playing her. I mean, we had one of the greatest actors of our time playing a main villain in a certain third movie that turned out to be nothing. So it's very on par for Marvel.
Are you talking about Jesse Eisenberg?
Oh,
Well,
man.
I'll give it to you. Yeah, he's a very accomplished actor. Sure.
Accomplished in playing the same character.
Anyway, I agree with Leo about Monica. Yeah, they did build up Monica a little bit, but I think their mindset was, instead of showing everything Monica can do here, we're kind of we'll explore it a little bit more in Captain Marvel 2. Which, by the way, talking about girl power, I cannot wait to see Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel on the same screen together. That is just going to warm my heart like you could never believe.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be in Miss Marvel too.
Right. She's supposed to be in Miss Marvel also. Right.
Yeah.
I think that'll probably be how Miss Marvel ends up in Captain Marvel 2, to where Monica's kind of just like, hey, I could use you. like, I know you're like 14 and everything, but would you like to go to space? It's like, yeah. So I can't wait to see how that all plays out. I'm a huge Miss Marvel fan. Represent New Jersey, you know what I'm saying? So I can't wait to see how that all plays out. But I'm gonna go to you, Trayvon. You also felt the kind of way about this episode. I had to talk you. It's crazy. I had to talk you down a little bit.
What?
Yeah, I never thought I'd have to do that. But go ahead, give us your thoughts on this episode.
The Quicksilver thing, I'm sorry. I can't get past for that. I hated it. Like, I just thought it was so dumb. I was like, why would you do that? Why even cast him? It was just dumb to bring him in at all. Like, just let her brother stay dead and that's it. Like, why even do that? But I didn't get the point. The point, it was just dumb. Like,
To get us to have these conversations.
I know she did it to like distract them from their little fight that they were having. But why aren't you just barging like you've been doing? You were barging every other time when something was going on in the house. Why you just barging that time? Why you had to send somebody? I just thought it was just so okay. Let's let that go. I'm just whatever. It's dumb. Like, I really hate it.
All you could do. That's all you could do, Trayvon.
Scarlet Witch, getting her, her crown and her power and everything. Like, that looked, like everybody said, it looked amazing. I thought that was great. I'm not taking away from their acting from the show. Like, their acting has been phenomenal from the start to the end. Like, all the different, eras they were playing in and the way they did it, I felt like it fit perfectly for each one they did. I thought that was well done. Like, the acting, the writing, all that stuff was great. I just did not understand, if this show's about Wanda and Vision, right? why do some of these things they did? The aerospace engineer thing, I'm not letting that go. I don't care. They should have never did that. I don't care. Like, she said it deliberately, pointed to her phone, then mentioned them again, then said, oh, there they are. And I watched a lot of reactions. I'm not the only one here. Everybody, when that part was coming up, when she said, "Oh, there they are," everybody was like, "Oh, here we're about to see." Everybody was like, "Who is this?" Everybody was like that. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. Like, it's just ridiculous. I was like, and people were like, "Oh, they're not gonna give us Fantastic Four right away." And I was like, I'm sorry. They just had the Investor Day meeting, the Investor Day thing that everybody paid attention to. This Investor Day was the first one I actually watched and paid attention to. Because I was like, well, okay, we're not getting Comic-Con, we're not getting anything. That was everybody's like announcement day. So we watched it.
Really quick, Trayvon, to be fair, the guy that's doing that movie is still trying to finish a movie. So it's like he hasn't had time to sit with Feige and go through a cast of who he's filming Spider-Man right now. So it's like, it just wasn't realistic. Because I would have found it hard to believe if they told me you had already casted people that you haven't even given the director time to sit down and kind of just evaluate what he wants. Like they've casted people before our movies come out, Mahershala, Brie Larson, Chadwick Boseman. So it's
the Spider-Man that he is directing right now.
But it's different. It's different because the current director that's supposed to be doing that, you would assume would like a little bit of a breather between doing this to getting right into Fantastic Four.
They don't have to get right into it. I just wanted her to say, "This is my friend Reed. This is my friend Sue," and I would have been happy. That's all I needed. I did not need.
I think he would like to be a part of that cast.
That's all I needed.
And I don't think he has the time right now. That's the only reason why I'm like, it's believable. But if he was at home doing nothing, I'd be like, all right, come on. You could have given us a cast.
I would agree with you if they've never. Okay, what you about to say?
I was kidding. I said, "This is my friend Ralph, last name Boner."
Been a lot worse than where they put it. If Ralph was who showed up, Ralph Boner.
Look, I watched the episode to do my reaction to it. If I go back to the episode, I skip the parts and I get out. That's how I watch the episode now. Like I go to the fight, I go to all the matches and stuff like that. I go to the after credit scenes and I'm out. I don't care about the Ralph part. I like the kid, like especially after the credit scene, you hear her kids. Oh, okay, so she's gonna get the kids. Cool, got it. Vision flew out. Oh, she's gonna see him again. Like that's how I felt. That's my emotions weren't like tied into this hardly at all. I was like, oh, okay, we go. All the family will get back together. It's coming. So that's how I looked at it, and I was like, I'm just really excited for like her sitting there reading the Darkhold. I was like, oh, so she's gonna be evil. She's gonna do something really bad now. Like she was already powerful, from what we saw. Now she's sitting there like, is she absorbing the book? Is she reading every page in there? Like she's gonna have every Doctor Strange got something on his hands when he finally finds her. A big problem. And I just wonder, I'm really curious on how that's gonna go. I'm really excited for that. And I still have a problem with the 8-month thing for Far From Home and this being 3 weeks after. I still don't understand how they're gonna do that. And I'm paying very hard attention to that when Spider-Man 3 comes out. Yeah, I don't believe anything they say anymore.
I mean,
that's basically where I'm at. I believe nothing. I don't.
Now, when it comes to timeline correction, don't expect it to necessarily go into that. They kind of gloss over it when it comes to time. It's why I say I prefer comic book movies or shows. Don't give me time. Don't give me the concept of time. Like, you don't have to give me an exact year. So if you want to come back and retcon something, no one can be upset because you didn't say that it was this year. You didn't say that it was, 2027. But it's when you expand time or you have a specific date, we're going to go back to it and we're going to go, that don't line up. And Marvel has done that in the MCU quite a bit. To where
the time was messed up to get Spider-Man Homecoming. Like they messed up.
So it's just it's one of those things where it's like you kind of just gotta let it go. They just love doing it.
If Far From Home takes place 8 months after, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then WandaVision, right? And then WandaVision only takes place a couple of weeks. It could be possible, right? Because if then No Way Home takes place directly after Far From Home with no time really having happened, then maybe it would make sense for this to happen beforehand, and literally the whole maybe magic and everything brewing to open up the possibility for in No Way Home for these anomalies to happen, or even in freaking Far From Home with J. Jonah Jameson, that could have maybe been from a different universe that was seeped in because of what Wanda did, but we didn't know at the time. Some shit like that.
That's what I'm saying. It's now up to Spider-Man to explain that, because what you're not going to tell me is it took Wanda 5 to 8 months to figure out how to open up the multiverse to go search for her kids.
Or for Dr. Strange to show
idea
up.
of how she was reading was the idea that the concept of time works faster for them because they're just kind of just like ripping through it. It's like, speed reading. So I'm like, all right, 5 to 8 months it took her to kind of go, all right, I'm ready now. Like that, it's gonna have to explain some of those things.
Maybe she finally went and saw a therapist. Something that she definitely needs. She went, she had some powwow, realized it wasn't working. She's like, you know what? I'm just gonna open up the multiverse and bring back my dead kids.
Also,
I do like the Hulk and Iron Man one where they're sitting and across from each
the
other.
bonus scene.
Yeah.
Don't have what the right time?
Yeah,
Temperament.
Talk about a wasted end credit scene. I'm sitting in the theater having to pee, watching it like, what?
But that was kind of funny though, with Bruce going, Tony, I'm not that kind of doctor.
No, sure. Was it funny? Absolutely. Me holding in my pee for that hour and some change. Not even a look.
Also, and the last thing I want to say is I don't want to gloss over the line when she said that he asked, "What am I?" and she was like, "You're from the piece of the Mind Stone that lives inside of me." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Wait a minute, you have a Mind Stone in there?" I get maybe that's where she gets the mind. What'd you say?
She ate.
But it's still weird. Like, okay.
Well, I mean, she was experimented on with the Mind Stone, so I think it would stand to reason that maybe not physically a stone, the energy is through her, which is how, and we saw that when she was creating that vision, it was yellow at first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I believe that's,
just like how Captain Marvel absorbed the Power Stone or the Space Stone, that she absorbed the Mind Stone. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which is another reason why it's going to be interesting to see how they introduce mutants, because you can say she was born with abilities, but what is her abilities? Is it what she was born with, or is it now this all new power that comes from the Mind Stone? So it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting because I think it's kind of like a balance of both.
I mean, she had to have had something in order to even like survive a blast like that, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah. It's got to be an amalgamy of the two, right?
Well, that's why
I would assume so. Go ahead, Dom.
Is she actually a mutant then? Because, she's told that she's a Scarlet Witch, right? Agatha's able to drain her powers like the other witches. Is she actually a mutant at all? Or is she just a witch?
Well, I think her being a witch is her mutant abilities. Like, that's not just, like, that's not, I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. Like I said, he worked himself into a corner by introducing two characters that are mutants, but you didn't introduce them as mutants. So now that you're going to introduce mutants, there's a lot of people that are going to be a little confused on
I think they're not going to give them a mutant classification. I think they're just going to say that they were these things that happened that had no correlation to the X-Men, because the X-Men's probably going to be like this advent of something that's going to happen, like when they let off the Terrigen mist for the Inhumans or whatever. It's going to be this event that's going to just take place.
To your point, I think the what's that movie with Angelina Jolie? Eternals. I think at some point in that Eternals movie, it'll be like a Big Bang, and I think that Big Bang, how mutants will become, and it's like, okay, I can buy that, but it still begs the question: where the hell y'all been at?
I feel like they're using WandaVision and Eternals to retcon. Wait,
hold on, 1 second. Go Ryan, and
I was just gonna say, how much of that is present day that we know of?
No. I'm saying I think the event of the Big Bang could have happened centuries ago.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it, because if this Big Bang happens whenever, how is it? How could you describe it in a way that we just don't know about mutants existing after all this time? I almost feel like some event would have to happen more in the modern to open things up going forward. But maybe I'm wrong on that.
But
I
then
always
how
thought
did
that
that?
was
How
a
did,
I had a theory about.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
I had a theory about that. Okay.
You can't, to answer your question, Ryan. How he does it will be a work of true magic. Kevin Feige will become the physical embodiment of a Scarlet Witch. And how he gives a true explanation. But the reason why I would really dislike if it was modern day is the story of Magneto and Xavier is something you cannot change. It's almost like it's as important as their powers is their story. I said it before. The most iconic thing I've ever seen in a superhero movie is when Eric, as a kid, is reaching for the fence. He's reaching for his parents, and he's like, he's bringing the fence with him, and it's kind of like, oh my God, like he's different, you know. And to me, it's like, don't tarnish that, you know. Like, I mean, you could make it like some people were saying, like, what if Xavier and Magneto are race swapped and they're black now? You could put it in the 60s. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the 60s that could work. But it just can't be it happened in 2025 and they just became mutants today. And
well, ask yourself, where did the Coven of Witches come from back in, that they were pulling the power from Agatha? I mean, look, that was hundreds of years ago as well. So by proxy, you would have to agree that if that is the quote unquote mutants, they existed back then.
Yeah, but I feel like a witch coven can keep themselves secret, whereas like Wolverine, I mean, yeah, maybe he can retract his claws or something like that, or a Nightcrawler can't go for decades and decades without someone going like, before the Avengers, there were all these weirdos running around here,
Right.
Like I said, it'll be difficult. How he does it will be one of the greatest tricks ever. It'll be interesting. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Trayvon.
But the thing that I thought was, like, when you were talking about Captain Marvel earlier, how she absorbed the energy from the Space Stone, and Wanda was activated by the Mind Stone. I have this theory in my head that people get activated by the energy of the stones. So the three snaps happening across the planet, because there were the three snaps that happened. That energy going across the planet activated people. And that maybe that's what happened when Infinity War, and then 2 times in Endgame. So they went across the planet 3 times. I was like, maybe that energy is what did it. Is what
I don't disagree with you. That was in that Black Panther archives book that they dropped, saying that the Infinity Stones can tap into latent abilities, which is true. I'm just saying, if you're Feige, me as a fan, that is not how I'm gonna let you get away with introducing.
How else they gonna do it? I mean, I don't see how else.
Hey, Trayvon, I don't get paid to make those decisions. That's up. It has to be better than that. The Big Bang couldn't have happened recently, because I need that history of Xavier in Magneto. So to me, it's like you can't tarnish that, So
they can.
Maybe be there.
I think Feige will.
Maybe it could be there in like a subtle fashion, like maybe there's some, kind of like what we've been talking about. It's a combination of both things where it's someone has it. It's kind of like a latent or dormant ability. Like I would think of Beast, for example, like someone who has extra abilities, but then it's not until some event that, it further manifests and like, he gets the blue fur and that sort of thing. I mean, I know that's from an injection. That's a whole thing, but maybe something of that caliber where it's like, yeah, there's some weirdos running around here and maybe we start talking about them now, but like after some event, it just blows this whole thing up even further.
And it could be, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Could be few and far in between, maybe you have where Xavier and Magneto have their mutant abilities, but they were so few and far in between and everything, and then you're introducing, the younger mutants later. As Juwan said, I don't get paid to make those type of decisions of how they're going to introduce it, but I think that it's at least important for Magneto's story to tell it you know, how it is, you know, just for you know, people who are Jewish who are watching it and everything. I think that that's always been a very important story. It's unfortunate that we are getting so far away that it's like he'd be really old at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they would do it. To me, always with that, it seemed as if the most obvious was just a multiverse. But again, like, who knows how they're going to do this?
Just remember though, at the end of the day, I mean, we have sat here in this on this YouTube channel now for 8 straight weeks. Leading up to it, we are all kind of like, we'll see, you know, like we'll see what this has to offer. And then now we're sitting here going boom, 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 boom for 8 straight weeks, like holy shit, you know. So I mean, I trust in the writing. I mean,
oh yeah, don't get me
got
wrong.
to do it.
However, Kevin Feige does it, like I'm just like, all right, you know, you gotta make it make sense for what you got. I mean, you know, introducing Spider-Man late made sense. He was able to do it properly. We're over 10 years, 20 movies or so into the MCU without the X-Men. It's like, how are you gonna do this? Well, hopefully Kevin Feige thought very long and very hard about it. So
I feel like at that point you have to have a multiverse. Like you,
Yes.
it's exactly like you said, Juwan. Well, I mean, how else are you can't change Xavier's story. You can't change Magneto's story. So it's kind of like they can't just be here the whole time and have not helped it. Oh, these guys have just been here the whole time. Like, I don't really see any other way besides pulling them from another multiverse. And if you even want to change the actors, that's fine. But like, I just don't really see how they could have been just chilling in the background the whole time, having their mutant on mutant scuffles between humanity with the Brotherhood. I just don't understand how that could be going on in the background while the Avengers are doing their thing.
And how do you explain so many? Because it's like for Captain Marvel, they were able to explain it like very quickly. You know, Rhodey was like, well, where the hell you been? She's like, it's a whole freaking universe out there. But these, you know, mutants are tied to one planet. So what do you do at that point?
Well, I mean, to me,
I think it's gonna be modern.
I hate the multiverse. I don't like it because it opens.
You're getting it though. There's a movie that's upcoming that literally says the multiverse of madness.
Getting it fine, but when you introduce things through it, opens the doors for people to then just go, why can't you do this through the multiverse? And then why can't you do that through the multiverse? And it's like, it's not I Dream of Jeannie. That's not how a multiverse works. So it's like, once you bring in the X-Men, people are then going to go, well, why can't you bring Iron Man back and then Stark back? They're in different.
I mean, people are always going to be like that. They're always going to ask, why not this? Why not that? But I mean, they don't get paid to make executive decisions.
I feel like it's an easy out if you say they came to the multiverse. It's one of those things to where it's like that's not creative. That's just like, I mean, we're sitting here saying how obvious it is. That's not like, that wouldn't blow any of our minds. Like, oh, they stepped out of the portal. Here they are. It's like,
but how else can you really do it? You know, I mean, they can't just have been tucked in the background the whole time.
No,
like,
I think they're coming now. They or at some point. I think, well, probably after Fantastic Four, maybe the cosmic radiation or something, like, or maybe it comes from the gems. Either way, I think it comes modern. Because the other thing I've noticed too, like with Feige, he doesn't really want to retrace what was done from other movies too. Like we were talking about previous episode, like the Uncle Ben thing. Like they just glossed over it because they didn't want to repeat these things over and over again. And I understand that for a character like Magneto, it's so important to go over that stuff. But you know, I think it was Tia who said something like, if they do an African American version of Magneto, that maybe it could be a civil rights kind of struggle or something like that. And you could.
That was Jawan who said it.
Oh, Jawan, sorry, man. But you can take a modern thing that's a struggle for any number of classifications and bring that to the present day, and then use these stories for a whole new audience that has never seen it through that lens. And I think that could work.
But someone said before that they'd be really old, and it's like if you do it from the 60s, you would be somewhat old. But to me, it's like Xavier and Magneto aren't meant to be. They don't have to be like 26. You know, it's okay if they're like in their 60s.
That's because people are too used to the James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender versions of them. They're like,
Well,
oh, they got to be
yes,
freaking swole.
Please bring them in. Please,
Me,
man, that would be a dream
Yes,
come
man.
true.
The
I always
casting was
said-
done perfectly twice. I don't think they could do it again. But
Right.
To me, I'm always of the mindset of, we know there's a place called Genosha, and that's where Magneto moved everybody, right?
Yeah.
I would not be mad if at some point between, let's say they go 60s, right? Between the 60s and the 2000s, mutants were going crazy. And they struck up a deal with S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time that they can't stay here. You know, it's either they have to be governed or they have to go. And that's when they have their own establishment in Genosha. And that's where they've been this entire time. And it would make perfect sense that they're not getting involved with things that have nothing to do with them. You know, they fought so hard to be left alone. So now that they're left alone, they stay unbothered, you know, and it now takes something larger to bring them into the, again, I'm not selling this as what I want. I'm saying it's a way you could do it that you don't have to go down that multiverse way.
There's no sword.
Steve Trevor washes up on the shores of Kenosha.
You never know. All right, let's read some of these comments. Go ahead, Tia.
One last thing, I promise, and I'll get off this. Whatchamacallit it? If they did want to stay with the original stories of Magneto and Professor X, but you have the age problem, could they maybe explain it as, well, they're mutants, maybe they age slower or something like that? You know, could they do something potentially that way? What'd you say?
What do you mean by age problem?
I mean, like, you know, the Holocaust was in, you know, the 40s, you know, and so it's like, if you want to say that, maybe say like, oh, well, they're mutants, they because of their DNA is changed and everything, they age slower.
Yeah. I mean, it's how they're explaining Captain Marvel and why she looks like how she does. So
yeah, that is very true.
All right, let's get into some of these fan responses. Huge shout out to Cena Nerd Podcast. They joined the live chat. They said great show tonight. Brandon says Spider-Man is Mephisto.
That's who Tobey Maguire is going to come and play.
Nah, Tobey Maguire is going to answer a pizza call from Ned and Peter. He's going to be the pizza guy.
He's going to be the guy that brings Ned, Michelle, and Peter in their hideout, and that's his cameo. Michelle says the witches kept saying it was foretold that Wanda would become the Scarlet Witch. I don't know if they specified Wanda exactly, but they did say it was foretold a Scarlet Witch would appear. Like it was foretold there would be one to come out of the the woodwork. Cena Nerd, think in Wanda's case, it seems the latent ability was there, but Mind Stone fully brought out her power. Plus, in this universe, you can open the door in the MCU through Wanda. End credits scene trying to find kids, which results in opening the door into mutants from other universes.
Yep. It's happening, Joanne.
I'm not putting.
Get yourself some coping skills.
So let me ask you this: are you so against it because it's easy way out? Like it will lead to lazy writing.
Well, I'll never say Marvel. Well, no, yeah, no, I'll never say they're guilty of lazy writing. But to me, it's something that has to be creative. Just because we can't put together this puzzle doesn't mean the puzzle can't be put together. I just think to me, if we all can deduce that's how you bring in the mutants, it's not creative. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're watching a whodunit movie, in the first 20 minutes you go, oh, that chef is who killed her. And then you get to the end and it's like the chef killed her. Was that movie creative or was it something that was just easily poked through? So to me, it's like, get creative. You've been wanting this day, if you're Kevin Feige, since 2000. You've been wanting the day where you had the mutants in your hands and can do whatever you wanted with them. Just get creative. That's all I'm asking for. But if you're telling me Doctor Strange 2 ends with a portal opening and out comes the flood of mutants, it's like, all right, come on now. Like, because to me, it's hard to believe because it's like, even if you're meshing together different worlds into one.
I was about to say that.
It's the idea, to the people on Earth now, they would in their minds, the mutants had always been there, right? Because that's all they've ever known. Once you merge a multiverse, that one world becomes the constant. So to me, it's just like, I don't know, just get a little bit more creative. Like everyone here is sitting here saying, yeah, multiverse is how you do it.
What if they do merge worlds together? What if they do merge universes together?
Wait, say it again.
What if they do merge universes together? And they
Well,
have been
that's what
the
you
whole
have to
time.
do. That's what you have to do. That's the point of a multiverse, is that there's different Earths, and then you blend it all into one. Is what the CW just did with Crisis.
Yeah, Crisis, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you retcon everything. To where if you want to go, oh man, this has never been our Batman. That was our Batman. You can get away with it because you can say, I'm just merging it and I'm choosing that one that I want to be my Batman, not the other one. But I mean,
if Marvel did a multiverse, they just keep everything open. To be honest, like, I mean, they're already kind of doing that with all these timelines. Like Loki's going where the fuck ever he wants to, and
Yeah, but I think the time variants are what's going to course correct.
I'll close it in.
All in. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, to me, when you have different worlds open for people to just go pick from, like an apple tree, it does tend to get a little bit lazy. Blend it all into one. Make it all one. Don't, like, it's what DC's doing with telling me there's now going to be 3 Batmen in my world, and it's just like, what? I don't want to hear there's another Batman on another Earth. Stupid shit is that? Anyway. Martin, I want to go to you before I end with you, Ryan. Martin, I know you wanted me here, Martin. I'm here for you, man.
I was getting concerned there. You were being very non-committal earlier today.
I was thinking about how I could do astral projection, so I could be here, but not really. Like I could still be in. But Wanda's holding that dark hold pretty closely, so I can't figure it out. But Martin, your thoughts on this series finale?
Okay, it's funny because I've been listening to we're all talking about the multiverse and how we bring people back and things. And all I kept thinking of was Jack Nicholson's line for A Few Good Men saying, "I'm sitting here watching the wall. I'd rather you not question me how I'm doing it. So if we're going to bring you these people back, don't question how they came back. I brought it back for you. That's what you wanted. That's okay." It said, don't sit there and worry about how I did it and if it was creative or not. You got them back because that happens in comic books all the time. But that being said, I didn't have a problem with the Evan Peters thing because I really wasn't that invested in the Fox X-Men thing as much. I thought that it was kind of, as Tia said, I thought it was kind of almost mean of him to put him in there and then do what they did with him. But again, because I'm not vested, I didn't really have a problem with it. I kind of like the deal. Number one, of course, I'm a romantic at heart. So the whole romance thing, I love. For a character who wasn't really real that she created, he had the best lines you ever heard. She gave him a poetic heart, if nothing else. I also liked, if you noticed, when she threw the car at Agatha, she looked underneath, there were the boots underneath. I thought that was kind of cool. That was a Wizard of Oz thing, where all she saw were her boots. I liked, I liked the idea of the whole, as you said, and I thought of it when I saw it, was the whole Incredibles thing where they're all getting ready to go into battle. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with it. And I mentioned this in a tweet, nothing good can come from reading The Darkhold. Just look at season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nothing good comes from it.
I saw you said that.
Yep. But then again, they keep talking about how powerful Wanda is, and I think part of the deal is because she was powerful without any real training of how to use it. And now she's, looking at the Darkhold and getting that training. So, she was a handful before. What's she going to be like? Once she starts getting the Darkhold, now it's probably not going to be for a positive. But then again, maybe her thinking is, I'm going to use it, because she hurt her kids. I'm going to go try to find her kids. I said I liked how it ended. They said they left enough open doors where Mephisto is not an impossibility. Matter of fact, really nothing is an impossibility. I didn't have a real problem with them not showing Monica as much because we're going to see her again, and they kind of just kind of set her up, kind of set the character up for you. So I want to see more of her as we go, though. I mean, of course, this was basically about, as has been said, is this was almost kind of like a romance with Wanda and Vision. So I can understand why they didn't, focus crazily on Monica, but they set her up nicely. So, once we get into Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange or wherever else we see her, that'll work out. The scroll thing, like I said, you guys had already predicted this a while back, so that wasn't a big shock to me. I think it's interesting that these powerful beings, the first thing they want to do after they're done is go to a cabin all by themselves. That's what Thanos did after he snapped his fingers. So we're all going to just chillax, as he said. But of course, Wanda had her astral projection reading the dark hole while she was doing hers. And I said, we got the white vision still out there, so we still got that. Like I said, I thought it was a good series all around. Like I said, and I wasn't as holding to some of the comic book things as maybe I probably should have been, considering I've been reading them for 50 years. But I didn't have a problem with them, not doing everything that was strictly from the book. But I pretty much I loved it. But I said, and we got so much more to come that maybe that some of these things that we didn't get, we'll get later on.
You can say Mephisto, Martin. It's okay.
Right.
I feel like the M word is so taboo now.
Well, I don't.
He who shall not
wanna
be named.
I don't want to make you want to tear up. I mean, but like you said, it's still possible. So there's still hope for Juwan. But I thought it was great. And I said, I watched it before my wife, who she was not real happy. She said, I'm going to go upstairs. She just poked her head in here. I'm going to go upstairs and watch WandaVision on my own. I said, well, go ahead. But I had to watch it before we did this thing. But she's going to cry. I know her because the whole ending will get her. But I liked it a lot. But and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we do now with Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel and Spider-Man and all the rest of them.
Yeah, they got their hands full with content coming up. This Spider-Man trailer is really gonna it's gonna do numbers, mainly because I think a lot of people are hoping they get 2 certain guys in it. And I know the viewership will be high just to see if it's something that's maybe in like the end of that trailer.
I believe nothing in the trailer.
Wait, say it again.
I believe absolutely nothing in that trailer. Whatever they have in it, I won't believe it.
You're gonna have to let that go at some point, Trayvon. They're not gonna lie every time.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
This time they lied.
Andrew Garfield's gonna come in Spider-Man 3 as Ralph Boner's twin brother.
Oh.
Doug Boner.
Now hang on. If Ralph Boner is the witness protection program guy,
Yeah.
That was
still
a pretty
be Peter
cool thing,
Maximoff.
right? That was a pretty cool thing to think about. Like,
I got to get off my bullshit. Like, I was wrong about Dottie. I need to be quiet.
Don't do that, Leo.
One other thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Martin.
The theater. What was on the theater marquee? Did that have a meaning?
Pay attention to it.
It was flashing so fast.
Yeah, it was some old movie because that
It
theater.
was from Blade Runner.
Yeah, from Blade Runner.
And then they had the Oz the Great and Powerful, who was directed by Sam Raimi, who's doing Doctor Strange.
Of course, Dom knows that
That's
because he
what I said.
pauses
That's what I
every 2
figured.
seconds.
I figured if anybody knew, it would be Dom.
Hey man, y'all know Dom had to change
Leo
his.
really put me out with that.
Hey, Dom has probably had to change his remote batteries about 3 times.
I'm telling you, like, if you personally, if I ever go missing or anything, I want Dom to be the one to solve it because he's clearly a master detective. Like,
Sure, Dom is definitely our CSI Law and Order guy for sure. Pete and Ryan are gonna end us out tonight, guys, for the last episode of WandaVision. Pete, I'm gonna go to you last because I want you to siphon off my anger and I want you to you know what I'm saying? But Ryan, your thoughts on this series finale of WandaVision?
You know, I have some anger too. You know, I was really enjoying this. It was almost like a Twin Peaks vibe going through most of this. And then by the time we get to the end, I just felt like they just rushed and let everything just go off at once. And I didn't hate it, but I just felt like maybe we needed another episode or something. Like the character motivations, like I I said this elsewhere, but Hayward just, you know, I think it actually got brought up earlier too, going off and just shooting. Like he seemed like he was reasonable to an extent from my perspective, because I know some people hated him way more than I did, up until this point. But then he's just like firing off, and kids like, you know, just guns ablazing in this final episode. It just felt like a stretch from his character. He went from like a 6 to a 10, and I wasn't really feeling that.
Right.
Oh, was someone gonna say something?
Oh
All right.
no, I was just saying, man, like
Yeah.
it was just weird that he was ready to unload a full clip on the kids and
Yes.
Monica. Like,
Well,
what?
maybe he felt that they weren't real because
Well, I mean,
But Monica?
not that.
Well,
I think it was just a moment of desperation.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Hayward of episode 2 would have done that, but I think Hayward, now knowing that the FBI is, you know, Jimmy Woo called the FBI, if he doesn't get this done to be revered as a hero, everything is gonna crumble. So he got desperate, you know. I don't think he was thinking. I think he was just like, if I'm going out, they coming with me, you know. So I think it was just an act of desperation.
Yeah. So then going further, one of the other things I felt was kind of disappointing. We didn't really get a lot with Photon. I mean, like she was just coming into her own, and I just felt like she needed to have a moment at the end of this. And I didn't really feel like there was anything there for her other than, you know, the teaser at the end with Talos's daughter. I believe we agreed that's who that was. Yeah, so I don't know. I felt like there's something more that should have happened for her. Like she should have had some sort of antagonist that she could have sparred off against. I didn't feel like, you know, we were talking about them being trolls or whatever, you know, like kind of teasing us along this whole way. And like I agree with you, like that's something they do really well in Marvel, but I think that kind of runs its course after a while and starts to frustrate people, because it's like you should give us something, and that something felt like we just were taking steps instead of taking a leap. I don't know, something of that regard. I don't know, I wanted more from this, and you know, it was still good. And frankly, the fact that they kept it as concise as they did, I think told a better and more cohesive story. So I give it credit for that, because it didn't go like, oh, well, here comes mutants and here comes Mephisto, and it's a whole smorgasbord of everything. But it could have been just more. And I don't know where specifically it is, but, you know, just characters should have had a little bit more, and it could have been more interesting. One thing I do want to say, I love the whole Vision square off. Like that was great. And even there's a thing from the comics where it's like even androids cry, and I think he sheds a tear in this. I thought that was great.
he does.
Yeah.
And then even on the movie marquee in one of them, it's like this Tannhauser something, and I had to do a lookup on it, and I was like, where is that from? And then it's a Blade Runner reference with the androids and everything. And I think that's also about Tears in the Rain. And I just was like, okay, like that's where you pepper in the good stuff, and I appreciate that. But man, I could have just used a little bit more. But if anything, that's a testament to Marvel, you know, making me want to come back for extra. And I know that we're going to get something really awesome. I can honestly see at the end of Spider-Man, like some Easter egg where, you know, we see her close the book, and then she just like descends into the pits of hell, almost like how Thor was at the beginning of not Love and Thunder, Ragnarok. Yeah, he's taking on Surtur, you know, something like that. And then they just fade to black, and then we're ready for whatever the next adventure is going to be in Doctor Strange. So lots of stuff, and it was very good. It was a whole season that I enjoyed, but man, I wanted more.
Yeah, I think the need, well, not the need, but I think the want more comes from how much they built it up. With this huge Game of Thrones kind of battle, and you know, there could be like a special someone popping, like they they, and by they I mean Paul Bettany, really built this thing up to make it feel like something huge was coming, and then you see it and you're kind of like, well, that's the ending that before he said something we all could have probably expected to happen. Something, something safe, something light, but it's a bridge to other stories.
Yeah. One thing they nailed all the way across was the emotional beats. Like everything the characters did, you felt for them. So hats off to them on that all the way through.
And definitely huge shouts out to Wiccan. I love that line of she's like, I love your, I love your abilities. And he's like, I like yours too. Like, like, I loved it. Like every time I see those kids, it just screams incredible. So, like,
did you see the thing? It pointed on Twitter where Wiccan can read minds, so he probably knew what was coming when they were in bed before. And I was like, don't make me care for these children. I don't like that.
He's like, don't make me care about kids. Pete, go ahead and end this out on the night, man. Your thoughts, and they better all be angry.
I'm actually not angry, and it's just because I've kind of transcended. I'm angry all the time, so like I had to move past that. But first of all, sorry I'm late, everybody. It was my best friend's grandmother's 86th birthday, so shout out to Grandma D.
Woohoo! Shout out Grandma D.
And playing off of that, segueing right into my thoughts. When like you do something stupid, your grandmother don't get angry at you. Your grandmother's disappointed in you. And that's how I felt. Was it a good series? Absolutely. I loved it. It was great. I like the whole reading the dark hole astral projecting thing at the end, like Doctor Strange. I accept the fact that the Skrull, I guess, was the cameo or whatever. I don't care. Was it a good series overall? Yes. Did we all pretty much fall victim to coming up with these awesome ass theories that wound up being better than what happened? Absolutely. And I'm not doing it anymore. I can't do it to myself because I build this up and I'm like all hyped up and then shit happens and I'm like, man, that was good, but why am I not happy? Why am I disappointed in the ending?
That's Pete announcing that he won't be back for when we do our Falcon and Winter Soldier shows.
I'm coming, but I can't.
You're all welcome into the kind of nerdy world where we don't do this to ourselves. Where we're like, it's fine. They got to tell the story. It was their story to tell.
I'm just taking it all at face value, and I mean, I liked it. It was fun. It was a good lead in, and I liked Ryan. Clear vision. I'm going with that. So excellent job. And I also agree with you. That was a little like extreme for hate. Like I just thought of the Anchorman shit was like, well, that escalated quickly. He's just popping caps at these kids. Like, okay, dude, we get it. You're the bad guy. But,
I mean, it's you got a shout out here, Pete, from Michelle. She's dying laughing. No, I mean, yeah, I feel you on not doing that to yourself. It's something that at some point I'll work out of my body. It's funny because right after I watched this episode, I was just like, all right, I've exhausted every theory for WandaVision that none of them came true. So I'm like, all right, now I can look into Madripoor being in Falcon and Winter Soldier and why that connects to Wolverine. That's my new Mephisto is we'll get a mention of Wolverine in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Do they have like a methadone clinic for friggin' comic book theorists?
Comic book theorists anonymous.
I would love, and I think it'd be a great way to kind of reward some of these diehard fans. I would love it if a season 2 of What If is Feige just kind of going through Twitter and taking some of these theories and putting it into a what if. Like, what if? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
The theories volume. Like, I would love that. And that when I tell you that would break records, because picture if that was your theory and you're watching it and you're like, what? Like, do I get any money for this? Like, I know Feige sold that for me. So I mean, yeah, I would welcome that with open arms. But yeah, I mean, like you all said, it's a story they had a right to tell. They told their story. It was rewarding. I do feel as though it was fulfilling for my for the half of me that just approached it as someone that's just breaking down these episodes as a reviewer. So to me, I didn't hate it. I would definitely love at some point to talk to AJ to see why he hated it so. But
he hated it because there was no Mephisto and Evan
he
Peters.
didn't want Mephisto. Remember, AJ didn't want Mephisto. He kept trying.
It has to be the Evan Peters thing.
Yeah.
It has to be the Evan Peters thing.
Man, who didn't want Mephisto? Come on now.
Yeah, we
Mephisto was what we all want.
Wow.
I didn't want
Owner.
Mephisto just so that we could have this conversation with Juwan tonight.
I mean, I will say there was a very small part of me that kind of like got joy from it. Like afterwards, I was like, yes.
Y'all throwing shade, man.
Yes.
Oh, Juwan knows it's all in good fun.
At least we
He
got
already know. He already knows. We talked last night about it on our other pod where he was like, Tia makes me cry. And it's like, I'm just continuing the cycle here. Just cry.
I will tell you, if there is one gift Tia has when it comes to me, it's definitely making me cry. That is for sure. Tia will say something that I'll just go, I was thinking about this. I'm not going to go to sleep because I'm going to just think about like how Tia could say something like that. Like, how would you say that? But no, I mean, look, I have loved doing the show with you guys for these past 8, now 9 weeks. I cannot wait to resume this for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I want to give a huge shout out to our artist, Dakota, who actually created our logo for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Very nice.
That's badass.
Something that we are working on getting shirts and stuff for us to be a little bit coordinated. Having ourselves some shirts and stuff heading into these new shows. But huge shouts out to Dakota for that.
There you go, Martin.
Nicely
Very
done.
nice.
Hey, there we go, fellas.
Nice.
Nice.
Marty, that looks good.
Wow.
No, that's beautiful. But guys, we as content creators love the support. We do this for you guys. Yes, we do it because no one else in the real world wants to hear our thoughts on this, but you guys, and we appreciate the amazing support you guys have been giving us. We I don't know, I'm thinking of maybe doing something special for next week so we don't have like a drop off. We can kind of keep momentum going. I'll keep you guys up to date, but thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. I know when I brought this up, it might have sounded like you want to do this every Saturday, but you guys have been amazing in doing this with me. So thank you. And I think we're going to be rewarded with this Falcon and Winter Soldier show. It looks great. Spy thriller. You guys don't have to worry about any insane theories. I already saw that I get what I wanted, which is a accurate Zemo. So there will be no Mephisto level thing I am looking for.
We're going to hold you to that.
Unless Zemo only wears it for like one episode. He just
Oh
takes
my
it off. He's like, I don't
gosh,
need
right?
this.
To be fair,
Gotta go to the bank.
to be fair, if that city that they're in, that futuristic city, if that is indeed Madripoor, I'm gonna pull on that Wolverine thread pretty hard. So expect that. But that's not really a theory. That's just more so like it just happened to be a town Wolverine frequented.
Don't worry, I'll Amazon you some extra tin foil so you can just start constructing what you gotta construct.
I'm gonna go full crazy in that. But I'm gonna read the last few comments that we got, and then we're gonna get out of here. Bonnie, thanks for another night of great analyst / group therapy. I'm so sad WandaVision is over, but look forward to the discussion of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Thank you very much. I cannot wait to break down that show. Also, Michelle says she loves it. Glad was Cena Nerd. Glad was able to join at the end, even if it was from the chat. Absolutely will. Shout out to you and Sarah over there. And then we're gonna get out of here. Oh, wait, who has me playing? Okay. Scared me because I'm like, I'm hearing myself. But no, shout out to Cena Nerd. Yes, this has been wonderful. Love hearing all the theories and discussion about these shows. New trailer came out for Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yes, absolutely. So guys, thank you again. Please make sure you guys are staying tuned Tia just did an amazing American Gods interview. Can't really get into much of it till it's actually dropped. But make sure you guys stay tuned. Tia's just going through these American God casts like,
I'm ready to
also
binge it when it's over.
It's really good so far. It definitely is. I definitely approve of binging it all at once it's over.
For sure. Tia also had interview with two of the cast members of For All Mankind, right? Am I saying that?
Four,
right?
actually. Four actually, in this nice little press junket. For All Mankind is on its second season. It's on Apple TV Plus, and it's really good, especially if you're into like space and the idea of them maybe rewriting history a little, Cold War and stuff. I think it's very entertaining.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys go check that out. Excuse me, KJ and Patrick have dropped new episodes of Kinda Nerdy Girls and Kinda Nerdy Dudes.
Yes, and we have the Kinda Nerdy Awards going on right now.
Yes, I was just about to thank you. Geek Vibes Nation is nominated. I don't want to say necessarily vote for us because Nerd is also in that. Also, I don't want to make it seem like screw everybody else.
Well, but it was really cool because all the nominees for every single category came from the Kinda Nerdy network. We just put them together, so it wasn't like we were like, we're going to put this one in here, and it literally came from people who listen to our show, and that means that they're listening to you guys. And so you know, vote for Cena Nerd or vote for Geek Vibes Nation. You can vote more than once. So
to me, vote for everybody. And most importantly, if any of the shows that you see here or you see nominated that you're not familiar with, get familiar with them. You know, we are the future of this. You know, we are 100% what will continue to push the needle forward. And we are what will prevent the superhero fatigue. Because you guys will come here and go, what stupid thing will Juwan get upset about next? If not for that alone, make sure you guys are supporting everybody, all of us. So huge thank you to Kinda Nerdy Network over there for the nod. We greatly appreciate. Kanan was very excited to see that. He was like, promote us immediately. I'm like, all right, Kanan.
Yes.
Like, okay.
KindaNerdyNetwork.com is where you want to go to vote.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys stay tuned for all new episodes over there, and make sure you're going and voting. There are a lot of other great categories to vote for also. So make sure you guys are voting for that. Trayvon, huge shout out to you, man, building your YouTube page. You have your I think you're having your review for this series finale coming out soon, if it's not already
it's already up there. Yeah, I just uploaded like 6 videos like right before this too. So yeah,
a hard-working man.
Exactly, man. And huge shouts out to Trayvon. Without him, I wouldn't have the green screen that I have behind me. He found me a really inexpensive one that I was able to get. By the way, I didn't look at the measurements for it, so you can see it like the actual green screen. It's a mess back there, but my wall's not as big as this green screen is. But huge shouts out to Trayvon. Make sure you guys subscribe to his YouTube page, liking, sharing, and commenting on his videos. Want to give a huge shout out to Dom out here constantly with the reviews. Dom has one for, was it Raya, the Last Dragon?
Oh.
Word up.
Dropped today. And I have so much more coming soon. And then the week after next, I'll be covering South by Southwest. So I have a ton in the next couple of weeks.
They're doing that virtually, or like they're doing like are they gonna let people watch stuff, or how's it?
Yeah, you still gotta buy tickets and whatnot. But it's all virtual.
Also, huge shouts out to Prime. Make sure you guys are checking out the Sports Bar Podcast. We have the All-Star game coming up tomorrow night. So they'll definitely be breaking that down. And it seems like no quarterback in the NFL wants to stay with their respective teams. So make sure you guys are staying locked and loaded for Prime and Source to break down.
Yeah, we got definitely first half of the NBA season, All-Star. And of course, on our running back series, we're about to review Coming to America, the second move. So Yeah,
Nice.
so
I'll be good.
yeah, no doubt. So it's about to go down.
There better not be one nice thing said about that. That's
Oh,
It
wow.
wasn't good.
You didn't like it?
Perfect.
It was fine.
I didn't see it yet. I haven't watched
I
it.
haven't
Wasn't too
seen it.
bad. Wasn't
I
too
do
Oh.
want
bad.
to
What it
add.
needed to be.
Wasn't
Oh,
great.
I
wow.
do want to add quickly though. We haven't gotten a date for it yet, but we'll let you guys know in the very near future. We will have a show with Juwan because we are going to debate. He seems to think that Training Day was a overrated movie.
What?
So when we review Training Day, I will let you guys know, and Juwan will be a part of that particular show.
yeah. I stand by it. I don't care. I stand by
You
it. Sure.
you
What? One of
stop this.
Denzel's best
You stop
performances.
this with this slander here, man. You stop it with this slander. It's because he doesn't like Denzel that much.
Nope,
I've
that's
never
not
seen
true.
it.
That's not.
Oh, okay.
That's not
I
true
was
at all.
like, oh, hold on.
Greatest Denzel movie to date. I stand by that. I stand by it.
Which what is?
American Gangster. 1000%. Sorry,
Malcolm X?
this isn't the place for that. Make sure you guys stay tuned.
I can't get over that you didn't like Training Day.
If I didn't say I
that's
didn't
rough.
like it. I just said it was very overrated. It's not his greatest piece of work. But all right, make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I will gladly slander that movie as much. Make sure you guys are also staying up to date with Leo. Leo has probably been podcasting with every geek group out there.
Oh my gosh.
Gonna hustle, that's for sure.
And Leo, you're close to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. I saw today,
Nice.
so that's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
Nice.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been fun, guys. I mean, well, I'll be doing WandaVision's over. So Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, we got so much coming up in March, y'all. Godzilla versus Kong, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yay.
How often
what
are
else?
you live?
Yeah.
How often am I? Oh, a lot. I'm live at least once a week. So
I feel
every
like
Wednesday.
you're live every day.
No, not every day. Every Wednesday, I have a show with my co-host over from Minute Movie Pop. Come on
Okay.
by Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. MT, which is, I think, a little late over there, but still, pop on by if you're around. But I do Mondays sometimes as well. But yeah, lots of coverage coming up, and Godzilla versus Kong. What else is coming out in March, y'all? Invincible. There's so much dropping in March, man. Like, it's about to be a madhouse. My Hero Academia for my anime fans. Woo,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
about to get busy.
Yeah, we're about to feast. We're definitely about to feast. No Justice League slander, Leo. Anyway, make
All
sure
the
you guys
Justice
are
League
also
slander.
checking out
Yeah.
Pete's Basement. Love potting with him. We just did an all new episode of Figure It Out with JD and Joel. We broke down a lot, man, and we, as you guys can see Pete's background, you can kind of see why it's called Figure It Out. So make sure you guys are following Pete's Basement. If you want to laugh, and I mean genuinely laugh, check out everything Pete's Basement. And I love your shirt, by the way, Pete.
Thank you, sir. I think it was like a random T Fury thing.
That's awesome.
That's tight.
I love that shirt. I love
For
it.
sure.
Also, make sure you guys are checking out the Nerd Rage podcast. I made sure I said the. I feel like I never do, Ryan.
It's all right. Close enough. Some people just call us Nerd Rage, and it's all good.
The is there, so I will say it. Make sure you guys are checking out Ryan. All new episodes coming up this week, right, Ryan?
All new episodes. I'm actually getting back to doing reviews. I haven't done one since Chernobyl. So I'm finally doing reviews. I got some rumor stuff, and I really want to get back into a little more writing, but new episodes are coming. And if any of you guys want to be on, feel free to just book. We got a scheduler on our website, so you guys can just go on there and book an appointment to come on the show.
Look, Leo's like, I'm on my way.
And as it says in his name box, shout out to Martin, talking comics all the time. Great interviews. Make sure you guys are checking out Martin's interviews and any articles Martin has coming. Martin, what's the latest one you have?
Well, we got a couple of interviews coming up. We got one scheduled with the two directors for Mike Mignolia's Drawing Monsters that just hit a Kickstarter. That be talking to them. I've got. I'm sitting here looking. I've got like a list of 9 different comic books I'm in the middle of writing reviews for. So always got something going on. And as we start getting into March and April, they're dropping like crazy. So yeah, please check it out. And I'm getting them as fast as I can get them out.
Absolutely.
Good
You guys
stuff.
stay tuned for that. As far as me, I actually do have something pretty cool coming this week, this Tuesday. I will be sitting down with the Snyders to talk the Snyder Justice League. So
You're
stay
putting me
tuned
on,
for
right?
that, guys. I've actually been treated to the screener for this Justice League, so I will be digging deep into that this weekend.
Wow.
So stay tuned for that interview when it drops. And also, I did change my background for a reason. I will also be sitting down with the cast of Invincible. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that.
Nice.
I'm gonna try my best not to tell Zazie Beetz how much I love her, but there's just
Word up.
Shoot your shot, man. Shoot your shot.
I mean, look, you know, like 10 years
I have that chance again. Do it.
10 years from now, when I'm talking about like, yo, like I shot my shot and it worked. Part of me is terrified that it'll end up kind of like how it did in the Joker movie, where it was just all in my head. Has numerous restraining orders out on me. But no, so make sure you guys are staying tuned for everything that we all have coming your way. Like I said, this is a great community. Great shows everywhere. There's no excuse, and no show is the same. So make sure you're subscribing and following everyone here. And like I said, we will see you guys hopefully next week. If not, definitely the first week of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So stay tuned, guys, and we will see you the same time, same place